know about a couple of programs you offer. So we're going to talk about that later. But thank you so much, Dr. Lewis, for sharing your insight and for the work you and your team do to strengthen the connection between our schools, families, and community. When we work together, we create stronger support systems for our students, and that makes all the difference. To our audience, we thank you for listening. Until next time, remember, there's always more to the story.
Hi, I am Superintendent Van Ayers for Hillsborough County Public Schools, and you are watching Hillsborough Schools TV. And together, we are preparing students for life.
planning, coordination, and execution, more than 100 security officers and 5 communication technicians worked collaboratively with the district administration, the Florida State Fair Authority, and the school staff for safely facilitating 31 graduation ceremonies, honoring the achievements of thousands of graduating seniors and their families. The team's professionalism, vigilance, technical expertise, and calm leadership created a secure and welcoming environment for students, staff, and community members throughout the graduation season. Their efforts behind the scenes exemplify the highest standards of public service and reflect Hillsborough County Public Schools' commitment to operational excellence and safety. The school board extends its sincere appreciation to the security and emergency management team for their outstanding dedication and contributions to making the 2026 graduation ceremony safe, successful, and memorable for all. Thank you. Yeah. 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 No.
Okay, here we go. Okay.
The board welcomes comments from citizens and values your input to the board. In order to provide the most comprehensive response to your comments, our staff will follow up with you and will keep our board informed about the responses. Our school board respects the public's right to speak to the board, and we appreciate you taking your time to be here. You have the right to speak about any issue you like, and you will not be interrupted. However, any behavior intended to interrupt the orderly conduct of this meeting will not be allowed. We do request that you try to focus on the issues. When addressing the board, please state your name and speak clearly into the microphone. This afternoon, each speaker will have 3 minutes. Remainder of your 3 minutes start when you begin speaking. When there are 30 seconds left, you will see a yellow light on the lectern and hear a chime. A red light and a chime will indicate when your time is up. I will now call up the first 5 speakers.
Good evening. My name is Sue Bottiglieri, and I'm a parent of 2 children in Apollo Beach, representing Dobie Elementary School. As we prepare to begin another school year, I want to leave you with a few thoughts to keep in mind as decisions continue to be made about South County. First, I want to acknowledge the improvements being made at Eisenhower Middle School. Investing in our school matters, and I appreciate the district's commitment to improving the campus. I also have faith in the new principal and her vision for the school. We know meaningful change takes time, and we're hopeful for what lies ahead. But as many parents have shared over the past year, what ultimately drives enrollment isn't what happens outside the building, it's what happens inside. Parents want to know their children will be safe. They want consistent discipline, accountability, and classrooms where teachers can teach and students can learn. Middle school is a challenging age, and no one expects every student to make perfect choices. What matters is how those situations are handled and whether families feel confident sending their children there every day. This conversation has become very personal for my own family. After applying for more than 3 years, my daughter Abriana was recently offered a seat at York Magnet. We accepted, and we're incredibly grateful. It's a wonderful school, and we're excited for the opportunities she'll have there. But we accepted with mixed emotions. Dobie has been our home. It's the school our family loves and the school we've spent the last year advocating for. Now, instead of walking both of my children through the same front gates each morning, our family will be split between 2 schools. I looked forward to walking them in every day, hearing them tell stories about seeing each other in the hallways and sharing the same school community. That won't be our reality, and it breaks my heart because I truly believe it didn't have to be this way. I know our family isn't alone. Many families in South County are making similar decisions, not because they want to leave their neighborhood school, but because they're trying to secure the educational path they believe is best for our children. Our community continues to grow, creating opportunity to strengthen public education in multiple ways. We can continue improving Eisenhower while also moving forward with the K-8 model, whether through expanding Dobie or planning for the future Waterset G school site. These ideas are not in competition with one another. They are complementary solutions that give families the choice they're asking for while helping our district retain more students. As you move into the new school year, I simply ask that you keep these priorities at the forefront. Continue strengthening Eisenhower from the inside out, continue planning for the growth that is already here, and continue listening to the families who have consistently shared what they want for their children. My family has found a path forward for one of my kids, but so many others are still waiting for theirs. No parent should have to leave the school they love in order to find the educational path they believe is best for their child. My hope is that one day families won't have to make that choice because we built a public school system where they can believe in both. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good afternoon, members of the school board. My name is Harini Krishnan, and I'm a rising senior at Strawberry Crest High School. I created a campaign called Every Second Counts, which is led by students and advocates for the CPR and AED training of public school teachers here in Florida. The reason we created this campaign was because last year, a history teacher from my school suffered from sudden cardiac arrest. Luckily, we had another teacher very close by who was able to administer CPR and save my teacher's life. However, this caused me and many other students in my school to question what would happen if that teacher didn't know CPR. And the more research we did, we found that sudden cardiac arrest is the #1 cause of death of students in America, not just Florida. And what we found is that most teachers here in Florida and Hillsborough County aren't even trained in CPR and AED emergency response. Thus, my team and I are proposing for legislation to advocate for the training of newly hired teachers in CPR and AED response through the teacher induction program here in Hillsborough County and other counties in Florida. I ask that the school board set up a meeting with Every Second Counts to further discuss our proposed bill so we can make necessary adjustments and hopefully get this bill co-sponsored in the Florida Congress this legislative season. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon, members. First, I'd like to thank the board for all the wonderful work they do for our county and our school system. My name is Maida Kalipra, and I'm a student at Strawberry Crest High School. And I'm here today to talk about a serious but preventable problem that has been impacting our community. Living in the Sunshine State, we're all exposed to the harsh sun on a daily basis. Recognizing its dangerous effects on our health, I co-founded the nonprofit Project Prevent UV with the objective of improving sun safety and reducing the prevalence of cancer-related deaths. I want to share a few statistics about skin cancer and highlight just how much it's been affecting all of us in the county and the rest of Florida. Did you know that approximately 1 in 10 Floridians are diagnosed with skin cancer each year? And it doesn't just end there. More than 600 Floridians die each year because of melanoma. According to the American Cancer Society, 91% of all melanomas in the U.S. were linked with ultraviolet radiation. And according to the United States Environmental Protection Agency, Florida experiences consistently higher UV indexes compared to other states. So no wonder Florida ranks second in the nation for the highest rate of melanoma cases. I'm sure we've all been told to apply sunscreen, but what I'm not sure of is the societal understanding of our serious consequences that emerge when we skip this small step in our morning routine. UV radiation poses great dangers to our safeties, but more for children and adolescents, because sun damage accumulates over time. So the habits we build when we're young directly raise adult skin cancer risk. We as kids go to school 5 days a week, which means we're exposed to skin cancer risk constantly. And in Hillsborough County middle schools, physical education classes means that we're outside under the direct sun for almost an hour a day. And most middle schoolers step into these environments without realizing that the damage happening to their skin now could become skin cancer that they face decades from now. Personally, I've gone around middle schools in the county urging over 125 students to take care of their skin and protect themselves from this risk. But I can't do this alone. This awareness has to be taught in our schools. So I'd like to propose a curriculum mandate requiring that all middle schools in the county deliver one lesson about sun safety during the academic year in physical education or PE classes. At Strawberry Crest High School, we take a mandatory alcohol abuse course once a year in our English class. I would like to work with this board to take similar action in that direction. There are so many simple actions that we could implement for kids like me so we can build healthy habits from a young age and take control of our future. I humbly request the board take this into consideration, and I would love to work with the county to see this through. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I get the next 5 speakers to line up, please? Next speaker.
Well, it's hard to follow those really amazing presentations, but I'm back again. My name is Julie Gebhards, and I'm going to issue another explicit content warning before I start. And I want to start with this. All of us dislike me being here, including me. We share that because of how shameful this material is. And the truth is our children in this county deserve protection. And the content that we have found in school library books needs to be exposed to the public and removed instead of being exposed to our children. My conscience is bound to protecting children from this, and I hope that yours is too. So here we go. Again, this book is called Gravity's Rainbow by Thomas Pynchon. It's at my children's former high school in Newsom. The themes covered in the book are erotica, bestiality, prostitution, rape, Satan worship, incest, self-harm, suicidal ideation, necrophilia, and cannibalism, among several other tasteless topics. Page 240. She stands, legs astride. He dares to gaze up at her cunt. Her pubic hair has been dyed black. Then she is stroking with fingernails her labia. Kneel here and take what I give you. And then in a rush, she begins to piss. He opens his mouth to catch the stream, choking, trying to keep swallowing, feeling warm urine dribble down out of the corners of his mouth and down his neck and shoulders, submerged in the hissing storm. Now her intestines whine softly and she feels shit begin to slide down and out. He leans forward to surround the hot turd with his lips, sucking on it. I'm going to stop there. If that's not enough, I'm going to add one more piece from this book, page 455. Driven now by a need to go out and find other animal species to F-U-C-K, she sucks the penis of a multicolored mongrel who has tried to mount her in the street. This is another landmine in Newsom High School's library that has the potential to do great damage to a young person. There are hundreds more like this. I've actually been doing more research this summer and find almost a new book every single day that we have here in our county libraries that's not under review, that is vile, maybe not to this degree, but totally inappropriate for your students. The shame that we feel in hearing this is shared. So I'm available and I would love to partner with you to solve this issue together, because this is just awful.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon, Hillsborough County School Board. My name is Jennifer, and I live in Tampa. I'm the co-founder of Simplified Civics, a global nonprofit organization focused on increasing civic literacy and making civics less daunting. I have with me today my team, Hatart and Emma. We want to discuss the opportunity of adding a student school board representative. Students are the heart of education, yet we often feel unheard or unacknowledged when it comes to decisions that directly impact us. Often our needs or the problems we face are overseen. Students who are actively engaged in decision-making report higher academic performance, with some studies indicating that 90% of involved students record better mean scores than those who are uninvolved. There's a direct correlation between scores and active participation in one's own education. I can attest to this sentiment. I graduated high school this May. However, during my senior year while taking ACE English Literature, there were multiple assigned readings that needed to be completed for the class. It was difficult to complete the multiple assigned readings required, as all the assigned readings were banned. ACE English Literature should have never been a class added to the curriculum if it came with such caveats. Thus, I launched a petition for a student member on the local school board. This is not just about me, it is about all of us as students gaining representation and being able to voice our concerns directly. That directly increases the performance of our grades. By appointing a student on the local school board, we ensure that decisions made are transparent, inclusive, and reflect the actual needs of the student body. It's time to recognize that students can contribute meaningful conversation towards improving our school environment by proposing new policies or suggesting necessary changes. I want to make a difference for the students of our county to ensure our needs are acknowledged and our voices heard. Let's talk about the change our schools need in Florida now. Over 40 states have policies that permit student memberships on school boards, and nationwide, at least 1,500 students currently serve as elected or appointed members of district, county, charter, and state boards of education. Thank you for listening. I greatly appreciate it, and I look forward to working together on implementation of a student representative on the school board.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good afternoon. My name is Emma Wiggins, and I'm here with Simplified Civics to promote our request to add a student representative to the school board. I've come to notice that students of any age tend to take inspiration in what people do more often than what they say. Much like how your own child would want to follow in your footsteps, younger students always follow their upperclassmen. I've been in band all 4 years, and I got to experience magnificent leadership, specifically in our previous drum major, which inspired me to follow through and audition and become drum major for my senior year. Along with that, I actually joined Simplified Civics because I was inspired by Jennifer and Hatart's work. This is why I personally believe having a student representative in the school board body is crucial for developing our young adults. Not only will having a student representative help teach students about public service, but allowing students to see that they can take positions of power to support their community can motivate more students to seek out and find these positions to work in, which will take a greater impact in educating our community about these topics, as well as about more political matters in general. Furthermore, having multiple student school board members only further proves to the student body that their voices are heard and that they can make a change. Even so, having a diverse group of student members further ensures that schools can work harder to protect their students and their ideals, as well as keeping the student body positive and working in the best possible conditions. I look forward to seeing how we can continue to include our students to make the community better for everyone, and thank you for listening.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good afternoon. My name is Hatart Vyas, and I'm a rising senior at Jefferson High School. I have come here today with Simplified Civics to advocate for certain representatives within this school board body. Along with Simplified Civics, I'm also involved in the Tampa Mayor's Youth Corps program. Through Mayor's Youth Corps, I have seen how connecting policymakers and students can benefit decisions made for our community. From sitting in on city council meetings to directly talking with the mayor, I've gained a deeper understanding of the political systems that affect my daily life, and also have had the ability to convey my questions and concerns to those who I otherwise might not have had the ability to express myself to. Having a similar system in place for our school board can benefit both you, the representative, and we, the students, as it allows for students to share experiences and to form bonds with the same policymakers who affect our everyday lives. Currently, there is no structured system that allows for this level of dialogue, and having a certain representative system within the school board could change this for the better. According to the National Student Council, 3/4 of the students who are involved in direct dialogue and decision-making in regards to educational policy feel more connected and closer to their local government and education. This is not a radical idea, however, as many different school boards in states from Washington to Maryland have enacted some form of student representation within their school boards. As the Illinois Associations of School Boards put it best, fully engaged youth leaders are essential to building a positive school climate, learning about student concerns, and making good decisions as a school board. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good afternoon, dear board members. My name is Mrs. Lucinda Johnson, and I'm here today to speak about the importance of communication, transparency, and timely responses to parents. Since my son's enrollment at Riverview High School, I have experienced ongoing concerns involving bullying, delayed communication, and what I believe has been a lack of transparency from the school's administration. As both a parent and a guardian, I have often felt dismissed, met with resistance, and unfairly labeled while advocating for my children and raising legitimate concerns. Based on my repeated experiences, I have become concerned that staff have been instructed not to speak with me unless an administrator is present. Most recently, today, when I picked up my grandson from the ESY program, I asked to speak with the staff member who is in charge of the ESY program regarding his educational services. I was told that my questions could not be answered unless the assistant principal of curriculum was present. This was confusing because I had previously been able to communicate directly with that staff member. This is not the first time this has happened. During the school year, I arrived to meet with a staff member and observed that my name had been flagged on the front desk computer before I was permitted to proceed. During that meeting, the APC of curriculum entered the conference room to check on the staff member and ensure everything was okay before leaving. Although he did not remain for the meeting, the experience contributed to my concern that interaction with me were being handled differently. These repeated experiences have left me questioning whether my family is being treated differently and have undermined my ability to communicate openly with the school staff. If there is a district policy requiring an administrator to be present when staff speak with me, I respectfully request that it be explained. If no such policy exists, I respectfully ask the district to explain why this practice appears to have been implemented in my case. Parents are not the opposition. We are partners in our children's education. I respectfully request that the district conduct an impartial investigation into these concerns. I am willing to meet with district leadership and provide additional information and documentation. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. We will now move on into the consent agenda. I need a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Oh, I have a motion by Member Gray and a second by Member Hahn. Please vote when your lights appear. And the consent agenda has been approved. I will now call on Superintendent Ayers to highlight our administrative appointments.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And board members, we have 5 principal appointments that were on our consent agenda that was just approved. So we're going to go ahead and go through them now. If we get the PowerPoint pulled up there. And we are going to start with Ms. Krista Washington. If Ms. Krista Washington could please stand. There she is back in the back. Ms. Krista Washington is new principal of Lavoie Exceptional Center. Congratulations. So Ms. Washington began her career in education nearly 20 years ago in Virginia Beach, Virginia, teaching special education students. In 2019, she began her career with Hillsborough County Public Schools, teaching access points at Lopez Exceptional ESC Center. And in 2022, she was appointed AP at East Bay High School. She then transferred to AP at Lavoie Exceptional Center in 2023 as their assistant principal. 2024, Ms. Washington was appointed principal at Eisenhower Exceptional Center, where she is currently serving, but now she is our new principal at Lavoie Exceptional Center. Ms. Washington, congratulations. Any family and friends with Krista? You can stand as well. Anybody with her? Congratulations. Congratulations. All right, so there is Lavoie, and we also had on the consent agenda, we have a new principal of Shields Middle School, and that is Dr. Solomon Lowry. Dr. Lowry, if you could please stand, please. So Dr. Lowry began his career serving in the U.S. military from 1996 through 2004. 2003, he began his teaching career at Azalea Middle School with Pinellas County Schools. During his career with Pinellas County Schools, he has served in administrative roles as AP at both middle and high school and as a principal at 3 middle schools. In addition, he has served as adjunct professor at both St. Pete College and the University of Florida. Dr. Lowry currently serves as executive director of school climate and behavior with Pinellas County Schools, but now we got him over to Hillsborough. We're very happy. Dr. Solomon Lowry, the new principal of Shields Middle School. And any family and friends that are with you as well, please stand. Congratulations, Dr. Lowry. All right, and now off to the principal of Edison Elementary, Dr. Lakeisha Woodfork. Where you at? There you are. So Dr. Woodfork is our new principal of Edison Elementary. So she began her teaching career with Hillsborough County Public Schools, teaching first grade at Oak Park in 2010. She then went on to teach second grade at both Potter and Shore Elementaries from 2010 to 2012. 2013 to 17, she served as reading coach at Edison, Claremelle, and Summerfield Crossing Elementaries. Ms. Woodfork began the literacy coach for Transformation Schools in 2021, and then on to resource teacher at Colson Elementary in 2022. 2022, she was appointed AP at Colson. So Ms. Woodfork was appointed AP at Edison Elementary in 2024, where she's currently serving. So from AP at Edison Elementary to our new principal of elementary, Dr. Lakeisha Woodfork. Congratulations. And family and friends, I know you got some people with you, Dr. Woodfork. Anybody with you there? All right. All right, we also have a new principal of Tampa Heights Elementary School, Miss Michelle Alfonso. If you could please stand.
Oh, look at her.
Miss Alfonso began her career in education in Massachusetts, where she taught for 7 years. She began her career with Hillsborough County Public Schools in 2014, teaching 4th grade at Fishhawk Creek Elementary. In 2020, she transferred to Kenley Elementary, where she served as a math resource teacher. Miss Alfonso was appointed assistant principal at Lamb Elementary in 2022, where she is currently serving AP at Lamb. But as of tonight, she is our new principal at Tampa Heights Elementary. Michelle, congratulations. I can't move on without talking about her time at, and we'll talk about more school grades, but over at Lamb Elementary, she served there for the last 4 years. Lamb Elementary has gone from a D 4 years ago to a C, to a B, to an A, and they were just an ASA just this past year. So her and the whole leadership team over at Lamb have done tremendous work, and excited to give her the opportunity as the new principal of Tampa Heights. Congratulations. And finally, our last appointment is our new principal at Woodbridge Elementary School. Where's Kimberly Lee, where you at? There you are. So Miss Lee began her career with Hillsborough County Public Schools in 2005 as a 3rd grade teacher at Hunters Green Elementary School. In 2006, she transferred to Bryant Elementary and then on to Deer Park Elementary, where she taught 3rd and 4th grades. In 2013, she became the peer evaluator at Deer Park. She then transferred to Robles Elementary in 2016, where she served as lead teacher. Her role transitioned in 2017 to an instructional mentor through leadership development. And in 2020, she served as resource teacher for Transformation Schools and Woodbridge Elementary. She was appointed AP at Woodbridge Elementary in 2022, where she is currently serving. So from the AP over at Woodbridge to now the new principal at Woodbridge Elementary, Miss Kimberly Lee. And family and friends with her as well. I know I saw Miss Morris, the former principal of Woodbridge, back there. Congratulations, Ms. Lee. Congratulations to all of our new principals. We are on the 5 appointments this evening. Congratulations to each and every one of you. And I'll see you all next Thursday at our joint principal meeting. Okay? All right. So, Madam Chair, those are our principal appointments.
Congratulations, principals. And now we will take a pause for a moment for those who would like to exit the room and go and celebrate.
Oh, yeah, 28th. Yeah. 28th. It's coming 28th. That's correct. That is correct. Yes, that's correct. 28th.
Now be heard. D 1.1, D 1.3, D 1.10, D 2.2, D 3.2, D 5.2, D 6.2, D 6.3, D 6.5, and D 7.9. Item 1.1, Hillsborough Public Schools Agreement, Classic Learning Initiatives, LLC. Superintendent Ayers will highlight this item.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, board members, over 300 colleges partner with Classical Learning Initiatives, LLC, accepting the Classical Learning Test, which we all know is a CLT exam, as a complete replacement of the ACT or SAT. In September of 2023, the state of Florida approved the CLT for all of its public universities as well. Students graduating in the 26-27 school year may qualify for a Florida Bright Future Scholarship by earning a concordant score or on the CLT, just like the SAT or the SAT or the ACT. So that is item 101, and our Chief Academic Officer, Mr. Brady, is here, as well as our Executive Director for High School Education, Christina Rayburn, if we have any additional questions regarding 1.1.
I need a motion and second to approve item D 1.1. I have a motion by Member Washington and a second by Member Gray. Member Combs, you pulled this item. Do you have any questions or comments?
Thank you, Chair Perez. I do have several comments on this item. You know, as we look at the budget and we're looking at less than a 1% increase, I'm going to look at every single item that's new to us. And this is an item that, you know, a few years ago we didn't spend money on. You know, first of all, I want to congratulate the Hillsborough County Schools, the teachers, the cabinet, you know, our supervisors for being recognized as an A. And when you look at, you know, when we're starting to compete, when you look at competing at State of Florida, I always look at competing on a national and an international level. So one of my hesitations with the classical learning test is how it's really founded in Florida. And remember, when you look at the research and everything, Florida is sometimes ranked the bottom in literacy. Recently it was ranked 50th in literacy rates. And we're seeing more and more as far as like the funding and what's happening in literacy. When I look at the AP pass rate, it was from 53% in 2022 to 71% in 2026. So the SAT and the ACT, those tests are very widely known. The AP exams are very widely known. The 71% of AP exams earned a qualifying score of 3 and higher. Nearly 20,000 AP exams earned qualifying scores. AP participation continues to increase, and the IB diploma attainment increased by 3.6%. So overall, even Strawberry Crest, they had a pass rate of 99%. When you look at IB and you look at AP, that is really competing nationwide, and it's really competing globally. So Pablo, here's just a PowerPoint about the differences between the CLT and the SAT. And I'm not going to go over every single one of these points, but bottom line is the SAT has more than 70 years of research supporting its reliability, predictability, and validity. You know, the SAT is recognized virtually every college and university across the nation. And then also the CLT is a newer assessment with shorter research. So when you're looking at a lot of other states competing, when you look at the CLT, that is not really a long research. It's not competing nationwide. It's not competing globally. This is a statewide exam that's being utilized, and all of a sudden we're spending an extra $500,000 on it, or hundreds of thousands of dollars. We're implementing programs like FACT classes, all this stuff that's coming out of the state of Florida. Well, I want to compete not just against the state of Florida, I want to compete nationally and internationally. So it concerns me that there's such a push towards the CLT. You can take that off, Pablo. You know, more and more this year we made an A, but if you look at the test that's coming, or you look at the benchmarks for next year, all of a sudden it's going to be harder to become an A. So we have to really be careful about this kind of idea that we're getting, that Florida is #1 in the nation. We have 63% of our schools are A's and B's. We're doing so well. Meanwhile, we're funding teachers 50th in the nation. We're not able to compete as well. Hillsborough County is able to complete nationally, but we're adding this test over and over and implementing it. And I'm going to support the CLT because it helps kids get across the stage. But I also don't want people to think that the CLT is this national amazing test that's competing nationally, globally. It's not even recognized. If you go to California, Oregon, New Jersey, the top states in the country that are scoring really high, they've never even heard about the classical learning test. And more students are passing it because there's this idea of this agenda to say that Florida is doing so amazing. So I'm one of these people as a school board member that I'm saying that is not true. Fund our state, put funding there, and let's continue to compete. And as a vision, as a school board member, I want to always put AP, SAT, IB, I want to prioritize something like that, not something like the CLT that's only in the state of Florida. You know, you talk about the colleges that accept it. You know, a lot of colleges around the nation don't even know about that. And why are we implementing it more? Because it's easier to pass. That's what's happening. And so when you look at the voucher system and you look at that money being implemented, a lot of schools don't even have to pass these tests. And our tax dollars are going to the same amount of people. That same amount of money is going out there. So I just think over and over, I want to make sure we continue focusing the AB and the IB results. You know, Jazeel Brown, you know, Brian Hoover and the team have done an amazing job, but I just want to keep focusing on that and make sure that, you know, people understand that the CLT is not a nationally recognized test. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Combs. Member Hunt?
Thank you, Chair Perez. I agree. The IB, the ACT, the ACT, the SAT are all, you know, tests that students need. The highly regarded, very good reputations For a while there, we backed off them during COVID and said, you know what, we're not going to use those for college entrance. We're going to look at more the whole child, their grades, because there was a lot of bias in those tests. And now we're swung back the other way where they're now the standard bearer. But aside from that, this is really about building multiple pathways to graduation. It's, certainly if you want to go to college, certain colleges and go on to certain careers, IB, ACT, SAT are the exams you need to take. For a lot of students, though, we know that's not the path they take. They're looking for a pathway to graduation to go on to career workforce development types of certifications and careers. So this is a pathway for them. And the tests may not be recognized in other states, but their high school diploma is recognized. And so, I understand your points, but I think within the context of the conversation around why we're doing this, it's really not about pushing back against the state. It's really about how can we create multiple pathways to graduation for kids who maybe aren't on the college pathway. But this gives them that opportunity and opens up a host of other opportunities. So that's my comments on that. I appreciate you bringing it forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Hahn. Member Rendon?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I'll be honest, I did question the cost of this test, but I didn't question it in the cost of the usage of the test. I questioned it on what are we doing to make sure that we're changing what we've done in the past to make sure we're giving students the best possible option. Because at the end of the day, with the elimination of the certificate of completion for our students, we want to make sure we give them every possible opportunity to earn that diploma. And one of the biggest barriers has been the state mandated test. While classical learning may not be at the same level as an ACT or SAT, and I want to continue to be able to offer ACT, SATs, advanced placement, ACE, and those same opportunities throughout our entire district. So every student, every school has those same opportunities. I do recognize that the University of North Carolina university systems, all Florida universities, the U.S. military service academies, and many other private universities around the country are beginning to use the CLT as possible acceptance testing. So it is becoming more and more an acceptable test. So I do acknowledge the fact that we are on the cusp of being able to offer that as an option. I do appreciate with our meeting that we are now going to, in the beginning of the junior year, we are going to make sure we're doing more test prep in not only ACT, SAT, but also CLT, so that we change the outcome. I was unhappy with the fact that we had such low numbers passing it at the end of junior year, and many more passed them as a senior, but making that change, making sure they have the same test prep as they would for ACT or SAT does help me understand why we want to give it to the end of the junior year. I don't want any student to go into their senior year and not have those benchmarks and just have to be able to pass those classes. So I do appreciate that conversation. And like I said, at the end of the day, we want to get as many students into standard diplomas, and the state has authorized this as a test and a way to make that benchmark. It is not something school districts or school boards control, so I do appreciate us making an effort to give all of our students the best opportunity they can. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Rendon. Member Combs?
And I just wanted to make one last point that I am going to support this because I am student focused and I want kids to graduate. But that same requirement isn't happening with voucher school students or private school students. And so that expenditure from 2023 went from $200,000 to now for $559,000. So that's an additional expenditure that is not really like nationally recognized. And so that's an additional expenditure for us. And it's another pathway that other taxpayer programs with vouchers in private schools is not a requirement. So it's really important that taxpayers understand that there's all these extra hoops that we have to walk through and that we have to pay for it, and it's not even a nationally recognized test. So it's very important that we really listen to what's happening and that we're able to compete nationally, but that at the same time, this is not coming from their budget, it's coming from our budget. So it's an additional expenditure. The budget's less than 1%. There's all these requirements, and and then other voucher programs, private schools don't require that. So it's very important that the public knows about that. So that's my point of pulling it. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Combs. Member Vaughn?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I'm confused. Do charter schools have access to these tests at our facility?
Yes.
They do. So that is a valid point, that we're paying for these tests for the charter school. That's another, no, they don't. They pay for it. We're not paying for it, but they have access to take it at our facilities. Okay. I guess my question is, how is this changing the graduation rates? Because, it's great. I love that Hillsborough County is able to, express how great we're doing as far as graduation is concerned. But to Member Combs' point, when we're talking about being able to compete at a national level, which is something we want to look for our kids, are we overinflating our graduation rates here in Florida and touting, high graduation rates and such a success in a lot of our educational policies when in other states, they wouldn't have those graduation rates? I guess that's my concern is, are we saying based on all the, the changes we've made here in Florida, our graduation rates are so high and we're doing such a great job with a lot of these changes, but is that true nationally? Are we doing that great in comparison if we have tests that make it easier for kids to graduate?
Well, roughly 90% of our students meet their graduation benchmarks through something other than the CLT. About 70% get it through the FAST, and then you have the SAT, the ACT, the CLT, the PSAT, or waiver, an ESE or an ELL waiver. So, about, like I said, 85% in math and 90% in reading get it through some other avenue. Related to standards, did you want to talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So to your point, before the state process of standard setting, which is that structured process that the state uses to determine the level of performance required for students to demonstrate proficiency on an assessment, when they originally rolled out CLT, for the math section, it was 11, the score, and for the reading section, it was 36. And that's where we had the most success with our students. Well, the state did standard setting with CLT this past summer. So not this summer, not the current summer, this past summer. So that's why you see the drop in percentage of passing with our students, our juniors, last year's juniors, because they're under the new standard setting, which is 39 and 14 for math. So it is more difficult now for our students to meet the proficiency standards set by the state.
So you're saying they're making it more challenging even with the CLT, but CLT, without the CLT, they still wouldn't pass in other states. Is that correct?
So, yeah, absolutely. So we had, just so for reference, we had 19% of our juniors meet the reading, with missing benchmarks, meet the reading benchmark through CLT. 28% met with math, compared to our senior class, that was 57% in math and 42% in reading.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Member Vaughn. Member Gray?
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's a very interesting discussion, and it's very worthy because, when you start lowering standards, whether it be testing, teaching, whatever format goes on when you are having that mindset of lowering, you get lower results. I think the balance, this is what I wanted to say with the points that were made, the balance between the accelerated learning and the remediation classes, if we have both of those, I think what happens is when you expect less and give those types of accountability tests, I think you get less. I don't want us to become a district that is not looking at a superior type of teaching, superior type of testing. The growth in AP is 71%, which is up. AP exams, I was a former teacher, are hard as heck. I know that we have a plethora of, a huge increase of AP classes and students. And I think right now, Superintendent Van Ayers, if we were to measure, if we have a balance, I think that right now, this last year, we went up with accelerated learning. And that helped your A. I definitely, because teachers have to be trained, they have to work hard. It takes a long time to grade these AP tests. And then if you're going to go into remediation zone, which understandably, we want a higher graduation rate, but do we really want to be a district that is a remediation district or an accelerated district. So somehow we have to find the middle. But the point Combs made is very important, and I think, Superintendent Van you can remark on that. But you're a superintendent. What do you say about this balance and in those remarks that she mentioned?
Yeah, I would just say that we offer every student that walks across the stage of graduation, when they go back and receive a diploma, it's a state of Florida diploma. So we operate under the requirements of the state of Florida. The CLT is an option, just as SAT gives an option to ACT, and CLT is an option. So these are all options. Our goal is to get students across the stage, college and career ready. So we want to, with this agenda item, it's providing as many opportunities as we can for kids to graduate and get across the stage. And ultimately that is, and you could use the same argument, like I said, with students that do well at SAT that don't do as well on ACT, or vice versa. This is just another option, a different type of setting, different test to meet a graduation benchmark. And to Member Vaughn's comment earlier around state, every state have its own standards for graduation, so it's hard to compare state to state. But we offer a state of Florida diploma, so we want to maximize opportunities for students to graduate, and this team's done our entire district's done a great job of maximizing that and getting students across the stage so they can start that next phase of their life.
Thank you for those remarks. Interesting discussion, and I look forward. I see we have other board members that want to make mention. So thank you, Mr. Brady and Ms. Rayburn, for your remarks. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Member Gray. Member Rendon.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I understand where Member Combs is coming from. At the end of the day, we're spending money to validate the 13 years an individual has gone through our school system. I don't understand the remediation because I don't believe we're remediating students to pass and get a diploma. We're not remediating students. These students have worked very hard through 13 years. They have met the graduation requirements. This is a benchmark test. And of the 51 states, only 7 states require a benchmark exit exam out of high school. And so we're not comparing apples to apples. I appreciate the fact that we give multiple options for our students to get a standard diploma. That is what we as Hillsborough County Public Schools are doing, giving students option. But nowhere do I want to decrease the amount of accelerated learning we are doing in this district. It is putting us above and beyond other districts. And I'm very thankful for the efforts we are making in here. This is just one avenue. We've got students that have done very well in all testing, but they just can't get past that graduation benchmark. And this just gives them one more option. I understand where Member Combs is coming from, that we always have to look at the dollar. We always have to advocate in Tallahassee for improvements in the amount of funding we get per student and for specific needs. That will never stop on this dais. It will never stop within Tallahassee. But I do want to make sure that this state is unique with these graduation benchmarks that students have to take in order to get a standard diploma. We are one of only 7 states that require them. And so having an option doesn't eliminate a graduation diploma. And so I understand, and I do thank you for the effort of making sure that we're just not giving a test. That was my main thing, that I really want to make sure that we're doing something before we take the test. So thank you.
Thank you, Member Rendon. Member Vaughn.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I appreciate that piece of information in regards to us being only one of 7 states, but then I don't understand why we have it at all if we're changing it to make it more accessible. I mean, that makes it sound like we're just doing it for money purposes, honestly, is what it sounds like. But I guess my question would be is, I know that we've continually talked about, letter grades, especially when we're talking about in high school, and how with the changes that are coming through with the state, it's getting increasingly harder next year. I think the point differential between an A and a C is so small that there are going to be schools that, miss it by a few points and aren't an A and are going to drop down to a C, because I think, is it like a 4 or 5 point spread that we're talking about? And so I guess my question is if we're making it more accessible for students to graduate, I love that. But then it doesn't seem like it's reflected in our school grades, that you can have a high graduation rate if students are taking a CLT, but if they're not performing on the state mandated test that they need to get the letter grade, like you might have a high graduation rate, but then your letter grade is low because the same kids who are taking the CLT to meet their benchmarks to graduate are not proficient on the test. So we're graduating them and saying, let's making it easier for our students, but then we're not reflecting that in the way that we're grading their teachers in the high school experience. Is that correct?
Well, the for school grade, that measurement is in 10th grade. It's a 10th grade test, whereas graduation would be, the student would have all the way up until 12th grade to reach that benchmark. So they're measured by 9th and 10th grade scores. However, they could reach that benchmark through 11th and 12th through a concordance score. So they have multiple different opportunities after 10th grade, but in 9th and 10th, it's just the FAST. That's what school grade proficiency is measured on.
But could they, in 11th grade, they're still taking the FAST test in 11th grade.
Absolutely.
Right? And they could do poorly on that, but then graduate with the CLT, showing that they're proficient to graduate high school, but their test scores aren't going to reflect that, and so the school's going to be poorly graded.
Absolutely. The school grade would be measured on how they do on the FAST in 9th and 10th grade, with 10th grade being the one for graduation. After that, yes, there's multiple opportunities. FAST.
So it stops grading them at 10th grade. 11th grade FAST testing doesn't count into the school grade.
Graduation, it stops grading proficiency, yes. It would be graduation rate would be one of the cells, and that they have until 12th grade to reach that milestone.
So you're not concerned that it's making it easier for students, but it's not reflected in the work that the teachers are doing for that?
No, I'm not concerned about that. I was just kind of explaining how the
Gotcha.
school grade is.
So there is a concern about it.
Well, I would be concerned that the school grade, I mean, we do have a high graduation rate, and we are an A this year, so it seems to be compatible this year, but I understand what you're speaking about next year, where we could have a high grad rate and a B or an A for the, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you, Member Vaughn. Member Washington?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to be very brief. I'm going to vote for yes, because I think it's so important to get those kids across that stage and get that high school diploma. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you, Member Washington. Member Hahn?
Thank you, Chair Perez. I was really trying not to get back in the queue. But I just want to, I thought about this sitting up here when we're talking about standardized tests and how they're a benchmark for so many things. How many of you know a very smart student who is not a good standardized test taker? I was that kid. I was a smart student. I went on, to grad school. I was not a good standardized test taker. I'm glad we have these options. I'm glad we're adding another one. It doesn't mean that we're, graduating kids that don't deserve to graduate or aren't smart kids. And when you look at the ACT and the SAT, all of these tests, they have their own reputation. The SAT is a hard test, but if you don't do good on that, everyone knows you go take the ACT. I mean, these are not secrets, and it's not that kids are not smart when they're taking these tests, but there is an awful amount of stress and anxiety taking these tests, whether it's school grade standardized testing or this standardized testing that matters for college and getting across high school stages. So, irregardless of what the state is doing and where we're ranked, the focus of this agenda item is multiple pathways to graduation for all types of kids. Not just, I think we're thinking about it as, getting those struggling students across the stage. It's about all types of learners. And so I just want to refocus that. Like, I'm supporting this because I'm a true believer in multiple pathways to graduation. And I know, being in special ed for as long as I have been, the bias that exists in all of these standardized tests that keep kids who live in poverty, kids of color, kids who have disabilities, it's a barrier for them. So if this is a little bit of an easier test that maybe breaks down that barrier, then I'm going to support it. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Hahn. So, real life situation. I had a student that was calling me, and I had Tracy on the phone with me. And, the problem was that in her household, they spoke Spanish. And so she was in this dual life, and she could not pass this SAT. She took it, I believe, 3 times, and she could not. And it was suggested to take this CLT, and she passed it. And she's in college. She starts college August 17th. and she calls me on a weekly basis to keep me updated on her excitement, on, what does she do? She's just so excited. So the fact that we have a choice for our students like this, she's an A student. She's an honor roll student, but she just couldn't make it past that test. She passed the math, but she just couldn't pass the reading. It's great that we have those pathways for our students. And with that, please vote when your lights appear. And it passes unanimously.
Madam Chair, it is 5:07, and we have a scheduled public hearing for 5:01, so I would recommend handling that now.
I shut off my phone, my mic. Public hearing for recommended instructional materials for career and technical education. I will now open a public hearing for instructional materials adoption process. This is a requirement pursuant to the law and board policy. This is an opportunity for any member of the public to speak about instructional materials recommended for adoption and to provide input to the board. The materials were advertised and have been available for public review. I will now ask Gary Brady, Chief Academic Officer, to present this item. After his presentation, any member of the public may speak to provide input to the board on the proposed instructional materials.
Good afternoon, School Board Chair, board members, superintendent, and staff. At this time, the board is conducting a public hearing on instructional materials being recommended for adoption. The list of materials is attached to the agenda item and includes materials for career and technical education. These materials have been reviewed by a district adoption committee, reviewed and voted on by teachers, and are being recommended for adoption. As required by state statute, a 20-day public review of recommended materials and a public hearing is required before the board can vote for the adoption. The public review requires that the district provide digital access to the recommended materials via the district website. The public review was conducted beginning on June 24th, 2026 through July 14th, 2026. The public hearing this evening is to provide the opportunity for community members to share comments about these materials with the board. The board does not need to take action at this time, but will be asked to vote at the next regularly scheduled board meeting, July 28th, 2026. At this time, you may call for public comments.
Do we have anyone who wishes to speak for the public hearing on adoption of the instructional materials? I will now close the public hearing.
Go back to your regular agenda items, Madam Chair.
Item 1.3, adoption of and purchase of recommended instructional materials, world languages, and English language development. Superintendent Ayers will highlight this item.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The recommended titles for adoption and purchase were thoroughly reviewed by an adoption committee and voted upon by teachers. These titles will serve as the core instructional tools for world languages and English language development. Per Florida Statute 1006.283 and our board policy 2510, the district must provide a 20-day public review period and conduct a public hearing before the board can approve the purchase of newly adopted materials. This public review period was from May 13th, 2026 through June 2nd of 2026, with a public hearing conducted at the June 2nd, 2026 board meeting. This item is placed on the discussion agenda in accordance with State Statute 1006.28 I referenced, requiring that the approval and purchase of adopted instructional materials to be kept as a separate item for approval from the consent agenda, and that is 1.3.
I need a motion and a second to approve item D 1.3. I have a motion by Member Gray and a second by Member Washington. Is there any questions or comments? Member Rendon?
Can I clarify, just because we're looking at are we voting on 1.3 or are we voting on the instructional material for career and technical education as per the hearing? Because I thought you read that we were doing the actual 1.3, but then the hearing on our paper says the career and technical. So what are we voting on?
So the public, I think, Mr. Porter, you announced that the public hearing was over and we moved on to this. So I think that other
We're
one.
back.
This is a brand
Totally
new agenda
different.
item. You're back to the regular meeting. Yeah, they're two separate things. It's very confusing.
It is.
But they're instructional material. This is an actual vote that by law has to be voted for off the consent agenda. The second one you'll vote on, the first one that you heard will be voted on July 28th.
Thank you. Just wanted to clarify.
This is item 1.3. No board member pulled the item. It has to be on the regular agenda. So unless there's discussion, you may vote.
Seeing no discussion, please vote when your lights appear. And it passes with Member Rendon descending from the vote. Next, item 1.10, Hillsborough Public Schools Agreement with Houghton Mifflin Harcourt Education Company. Superintendent Ayers will highlight this item.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Read 180 is an evidence-based literacy intervention designed specifically for secondary students reading below grade level, providing personalized instruction, high-interest text, and targeted support in phonics, fluency, vocabulary, and comprehension. The proposed implementation will support approximately 2,400 middle school students across 10 of our middle schools, while also providing teacher training, coaching, implementation support, and a dedicated project manager to ensure strong fidelity of implementation. So that is item 1.10, and Tracy Bergman is here along with Karen French, our Executive Director for Middle School Instruction, of course, Mr. Brady, Chief Academic Officer. Any questions in regards to Read 180 and its expansion to all the high school and pilot in middle schools?
Thank you. I need a motion and a second to approve item D 1.10. I have a motion by Member Rendon, a second by Member Combs. Member Rendon, you pulled this item. Do you have any questions or comments?
Thank you, Madam Chair. You know, as many of us board members are looking at it, we're looking at the dollars and cents that were being spent, because at the end of the day, we're not receiving more dollars from Tallahassee. We're not receiving more funding from the federal level. And so we've got to make sure that we're managing our dollars the best way possible. I would be remiss to not acknowledge the fact that although we're seeing success with Reading 180 in all of our high schools, and I'm 100% acknowledging that, but when I meet with the teachers and I'm around the high schools and walking in through these classrooms, 90% of the time that these students are on devices going through this curriculum. I do not see a lot of one-on-one. And when I look at a 16-year-old sophomore or junior recognizing that they're completing these classes because in order to graduate, and they're right there at that benchmark for graduation, a 12-year-old in 7th grade does not see that at this point. They can't recognize how soon that's coming. And so consequently, without having one-on-one instruction in a classroom and really spending a lot more time of instruction, I have a hard time putting a curriculum like this in place. And so that's one of my concerns. We're looking at spending $50,000 per school, where we could do 5 reading coaches that could be rotating around the entire district. It's affecting 2,400 students. And I understand that's a lot of money to be spending for 2,400 students when we are really in a situation. I'd like to know, the one thing we do know is consistency in the classroom. Superintendent, for the last 3 years, you've been focusing on high reliability of education, high reliability of schools, and the very number one thing is the consistency of the implementation of any curriculum. And what I want to make sure we acknowledge as a district is that's one thing we have been consistent in our communication directly to our principals, but we have not verified that we are consistent amongst all of our schools in the implementation of all of our curriculum. When I look at our K through 3 curriculum and I look at other districts that are scoring 10 and more points higher on an annual basis for that 3rd grade reading benchmark, they are reading and utilizing the same curriculum we are. The difference that they are doing is the implementation and the consistency of the classroom implementation of that curriculum. And so I'm not going to approve this until I have from our district, how are we consistently implementing the materials in each one of our classrooms? That is what we're lacking. We are using good curriculum throughout our schools. Our teachers are great. Our teachers are working tremendously hard, but we are lacking that one piece where we can verify that there's a consistency in every 2nd grade classroom, that every 2nd grade classroom is implementing exactly the way other ones are. And when you talk to principals, they're doing it their way, or another one's doing it their way, and they're verifying it this way. But in order for us to have consistency, we've got to verify, and nobody can verify that I'm that consistent per classroom. The other thing is, if I look about the new benchmarks, all of our high schools, if we were today test our grades on our high schools, we would only have 5 high schools with an A. That is a dramatic difference than where we are today. And our teachers are working exceptionally hard. Our students are getting a great education. Those new benchmarks are going to be really trying. And so I want to make sure that we are emphasizing that consistent implementation in each one of our classrooms so that we're no longer the bottom 3%, but we're now that top 3%, because other districts are at that top level with the exact same curriculum that we are using. But the difference is their consistent implementation in every one of the classrooms. So that's where I'm at today. It's not a matter of that I don't trust what we're doing as a district, that I don't trust the curriculum, because we've got excellent curriculum that we're already putting in schools. But I've got no reassurance from anyone on a district level of how they are making sure that every classroom is running consistently. What I'm hearing is we've informed our principals, we've given them resources, but exactly how are we doing that to verify? That's our key we're missing to make sure we go that next level. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Rendon. Member Combs?
I wasn't going to comment, but I have to fundamentally disagree with you. You know, someone who's been in education for over 30 years, this Read 180 program is one of the most research-based programs that we've had for many, many years. It is a really important program because some kids in high school, they're not able to read these difficult passages. So this way, they're able to improve their reading without having to read these lower level passages. And to say we're not consistent, that is the opposite. That's why we were the ones who implemented UFly. We were one of the first ones to implement UFly, and it's been so consistent that other districts are competing with us. Find me another urban district with so much poverty that's doing an A. If we're not an A this year and a C next year, that's because there's this agenda of making the district state look at a certain way. How can you be an A district one year, then the exact same next year perform as a C or D? That has to do with propaganda and having to do with an agenda. But fundamentally, our schools are very consistent. We have DRTs that are going out there. We're doing walkthroughs. Our superintendents are out there. UFly has been so consistent all the way. Read 180 is one of the most teacher-led instructional programs in education. It schedules for sufficient instructional time depending on the model. It trains teachers thoroughly. It uses the program consistently. It monitors student progress regularly and places the appropriate intervention for each individual student. The reason why this district that has high poverty, lower impact fees that we're getting, funding lower, bigger vacancies, the reason why we're an A is because we are very consistent. The curriculum, this academic team is amazing, from Gary Brady to Tracy looking around to all these people. They are so consistent. Our academics are very consistent. As a matter of fact, we team up with Kelly to make sure that the instruction is consistent. Our principals are instructional leaders. There is no question this Read 180 is one of the best programs hands that has long-term research on that. So for you to say that, I'm actually offended, because I think our principals work very hard, very consistent. That's why UFly used us as a model as they go out of the state and throughout the nation, is because we are very consistent. So I support this, as I support the consistent work that you've been doing.
Thank you, Councilmember Vaughn.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I am confused about Member Rendon's statement, because I haven't seen that lack of consistency, but I'm not an expert in high school. This is for middle school that we're rolling this out, right? I know that it feels like, as a parent, I can go to any middle school, and I know the pacing guides in elementary school. I'm assuming it's the same. In fact, I think teachers are concerned that there's not enough autonomy. And in fact, to the opposite point, that the district is almost too rigid in the pacing of the curriculum and making sure that we're all everyone's on the same page, and that you can go from one school to the next school and be exactly where you left off. So I guess I'm confused. I guess this question would actually go to you, Superintendent Ayers. What are the expectations about pacing guides and where our employees are from a district level? Is that just left up completely to the principal, or are they supposed to be at a certain pacing at a certain time depending on the coursework?
Yes to everything you just said. There's a pacing guides that we have, and across the district, because of the results we've gotten have been because of how well we've been structured across the entire school district. So we have a phenomenal academic services team that work phenomenally with our chief of schools and our regional superintendents. So there are pacing guides that we have to ensure that all of our classrooms across the district, whether it's UFly, Read 180, that is something that we look to support our schools and take that off their plate to ensure that the teachers know exactly what to do. Ms. Bergman, did you want to add anything on that, on the pacing guides and how far, and what's given out, how we monitor that, et cetera?
Yeah, sure. So you are correct. We do have pacing guides, scopes and sequences that go along with each course, especially in literacy too. One of the key areas that we focused on over the last 2 years is tied to our model of instruction, which is guaranteed and viable curriculum, to really ensure that our teachers are using the adopted curriculum. So again, our money isn't going to waste, and the stuff isn't sitting on shelves hidden under cabinets or in shrink wrap, and that they're truly using it. So with our partnership with our regional superintendents, we've done a lot of training, a lot of look-fors. We've involved them in the initial rollouts with their teachers, with their school administrators, to make sure that everyone's on the same page. From there, across both elementary, middle, and high school, we also take a look at one of the areas of the model of instruction is content alignment. And that really says, are we using that guaranteed and viable curriculum to meet the needs of the standards and to meet the needs of the students? And so within that, our supervisors have done a really nice job of kind of planning out, this is what it looks like using certain programs. So for elementary, we take a look at it from a UFly stance, which is a little bit different because of the type of program, or from Wonders, or from Read 180, in terms of this is what you should be seeing. This is what it looks like when we do it in implementation. To Member Rendon's point, though, do we have still gaps in places where teachers aren't as strong in the implementation? Absolutely. I think that would be safe to say across any content, any school. It's not about the school, the teacher, the principal, or anything else. It's just where we are. We strive to get to where all of our teachers are doing kind of to that level. But we've definitely come leaps and bounds in terms of, especially, this is my 7th year, with literacy, and seeing where we were at the start of that and to where we are now, we've seen a lot of growth in terms of, I think, the buy-in from our teachers in terms of what we're producing. The willingness to learn something new has definitely expanded a lot, especially as our teaching staff has kind of leveled out a little bit more over the last 3 or 4 years. And just kind of what we're producing has become more consistent, as well as the work we do with chief of school staff.
And so I don't know if it's actually on the evaluation, but I've gotten feedback from teachers that they've gotten coaching from regional superintendents and from principals because they're not on the right pacing guide, and that it's actually been a detriment that they've gotten feedback from the district that they need to be on the same spot. Is that, so what you're saying is there are gaps, but they're getting that feedback from district staff. And again, to the opposite point, they're even frustrated that there's so much rigidness in the pacing guides and almost feel like the flexibility is gone. So that's a counter argument of that. But I just wanted to get a feel for where we are and what the expectations were, because I get so much feedback from our staff in general. So thank you for the clarification.
And you are correct that we do provide coaching. We do have a district staff that we provide that goes out to sites based on the recommendations from the regional superintendents and some of their impact reviews and things that they do. And in addition, within this contract, we also have boots on the ground support in terms of coaching and the project manager that can also help support, our team to get to more teachers more times. We did that with high school this year, and we'll continue that with middle school and high school in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Vaughn. Member Gray?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just real quickly, I get concerned when we start having transactional type of budget talks, when we say, well, we don't really have to do this, but we can spend more money on something else. What happens when you do transactional budget analysis is that you're really kind of missing, you're making the point based on hypothetical. Well, this money, 500,000, whatever, well, we can use that money, have more instructional personnel, use it for them. The point is, Ms. Bergman, Ms. French, you've done an outstanding job with UFLY, as mentioned, outstanding reading, remediation. Everything that you have done has been very well researched, and by the budget, this is, you had a coup d'etat. You had a performance type budget. In other words, if they don't have the data that reveals an uptick, they don't get paid. So, and I want you to just say something, Ms. French, you're a woman of very few words, but, and you can let Ms. Bergman, who's the opposite, but you can say about your wonderful deal making. Thank you, Corey Murphy. She was part of it, but tell us about what's going on.
Hold on.
Hold on.
To your point, it is an outcome-based contract, 50% for the resources and 50% for the performance.
That's what I was going to say.
Oh, okay.
So it is an outcomes-based contract within that. Okay. So it is with there. And just to also talk about looking at, from that administrative lens, memorandum within that, our goal is, if this passes and going forward, that first training is for administrators and making sure administrators understand the program, know how to support the program, know how to support the teachers and the students within that program, because that level of fidelity needs to be throughout the whole process. So we want to start with that school leader, and then we take it into the teachers, and then we have it set up to where we're actually meeting with Read 180 on a weekly basis all year to be able to go in and support the schools to the level of what they need to be supported.
It's interesting the careful calculations that you have made, a building block to help Superintendent Van Ayers, to help get these students up to where they need to be so we can get the fruitions of an A school, A district, because every one of you have you've done something meaningful to help these kids succeed. And when you're talking about 2,400 kids that are low proficiency, what are we going to do? Just not pay attention and just let them, exist without having immediate attention? And that's what you've done. So thank you for that. That's all my remarks, unless you want to keep talking, Ms. Bergman. No. Okay.
Thank you, Member Gray. Seeing no further comments, please vote when your lights appear. And it passes with Member Rendon descending on the vote. Next item. Item 2.2, agreement number 26222, XMT Consigna Incorporated.
Cognia.
Okay. Annual accreditation fee Superintendent Ayers will highlight this item.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So since 2010 is when our school district moved to a total district accreditation. So that began in 2010. We've been doing that since then. Prior to that, we had individual school accreditations. So this means that all schools in Hillsborough County being district accredited meet high standards, and our student diplomas and transfer credits are accepted internationally without reservation. This accreditation ensures their ability to enroll in post-secondary institutions, qualify for grants and scholarships, and join the military, among other advantage. Our district's last accreditation was in 23-24, and we're in good standing with Cognia as we completed our accreditation review, as I mentioned, during the 23-24 school year. And this item is the annual accreditation fee to allow us to continue to be accredited through Cognia as a school district, and that is 2-2.
Thank you. I need a motion and a second. I have a motion by Member Rendon, a second by Member Washington. Member Rendon, you pulled this item. Do you have any comments or questions?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So when I met with the district staff about this additional item, my question was, the laws and standards in the state of Florida have changed, and we're no longer required to be accredited. And so I said, we're not required to be accredited. Our schools are not required to be accredited even to move on. Like, our standard of diplomas, because we are meeting the standards and we are a public institution for the state of Florida, we're not required to do this anymore. So I asked why we're doing it. It was just why, because we've always done it. And nobody could tell me why we're doing it, because if a student graduates from one of our schools, they're still accepted in the university systems. They're still considered, we meet standard for state things. So I pulled it because nobody can tell me why we're doing it. And we're no longer required to do it. So I just didn't know why we're doing it.
I would, my answer to that would be a board decision we could look at. If we want to talk through having a school district as large as ours. It's not accredited by an agency. I don't have, Mr. Do you have the information on other school districts? We could talk. The others, I would believe that most large school districts still go through this process. So I agree with you that we don't have to.
Many states are not using. I mean, like, it's not a requirement.
Yeah.
It used to be.
Right.
It used to be a requirement by the state of Florida, Department of Education. Many more states were doing it, but today those have changed because we now have state standards, because of our other things that we're doing. Many states are no longer even using accreditations.
Yeah, we could. Do you have some numbers on just what they have?
It was mainly used validation to have an outside evaluator just evaluate the practices of the district, just to give you the purpose behind it, validity. But right now, the top 10 large districts in the state are actually accredited by Cognia right now. So just to answer some of the questions, but really it's just have the extra evaluator just evaluate the practices. And right now we're going through a mid-cycle progress report that we have to complete, that they look around the standards that they saw that we had areas for improvement, that actually we incorporated and updated the strategic plan for the past 2 years. We utilized their information to try to monitor our practices, and now we're actually today I submitted the progress report for them to actually review, see if for them to approve.
But again, we have many private schools in the entire state of Florida that are not approved. So again, it just seems like we're doing it, but if we're doing it without an answer or a purpose,
I understand.
That's all I'm saying. I mean, like, we should just be asking the question, why are we continuing to do it if we don't have to do it? When we have so many other, when we're validated as an A. If I was not cognizant if we didn't have that accreditation or we had it, does it change our grade for the district? No. Does it change any of the credit, all the things that make up our district? None of that changes with that. So again, this is one of those things that I think over time in industries, there's always been an accreditation and things like that, but times are shifting. So I just asked the answer why, and nobody can really give me a good, valid reason why we're spending the money to be accredited when the accreditation means nothing.
Ultimately, that would have to be, we talk about it at a workshop.
It's not required for grants. It's not required federally.
But that would be, I understand, but that would be ultimately a decision of this school board, that this school board would choose, that we would not want to have an accredited school district. So that would not be a decision that I would make or pull on my own. I would need the entire school board to let me know, give me direction if we want to have a workshop, Mr. Porter, and talk about accreditation and what that is. And if the board, gives me some feedback on we're just going to choose to not be an accredited school district, I would need some direction on that, but my agenda item sits as it is.
About 300,000. 323,000.
Member Rendon, are you? Okay. Thank you, Member Rendon. Member Combs?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's very important for accreditation because we can't just live in a bubble. You know, if you look at NEA, we're ranked at the lowest, funding at the lowest, ranking academically very, very low. This Cognia, it has more than 40,000 schools and systems over 90 countries. So I am not going to be in a fishbowl and think that we're doing so great when we're not really compared to nationally, and we're not going to be an accredited school, one of the seventh largest district in the country, and we're not going to do that. You know, not having internal, external feedback. They do an independent accountability where they look at leadership, teaching, student support, governance, continuous improvement, resource. Number two, they do continuous improvement. It's not a one-time inspection. It also improves the public confidence. So when you're looking at bond rating and things of that nature, it builds the public confidence. It's governance support, and which obviously we need at the state, when federal, what's happening. It focuses on student outcomes. That's what we're here. We're student-centered. We want to compete against what's happening in the nation and the world. They look at academic achievement, student support, student culture, equity of access, family engagement, continuous improvement processes. They look at national benchmarking. The accreditation allows districts to compare their practices against recognized standards used by thousands of schools. It encourages data-driven decisions. It also supports strategic planning like we're talking about. It helps identify system-wide issues, and it is also an external validation. To be the 7th largest district and to not have accreditation, you know, let's push the Department of Education to increase the budget less than 1%. I mean, with the inflation rate, why are we talking about like getting rid of things that compete nationally and how we have accreditation instead of really looking at the issue, which is the budgeting issue? So this type of accreditation, even though, you know, we don't have the funding, it also makes sure that we are plateaued nationally as well as internationally, and that we have that accreditation. So I think it would be bad for bond rating. It doesn't give support for the public to feel supportive of that. So there's no question that as we have since 2010, this should continue. There should be no discussion, and let's move on and vote for this and support it. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Combs. Member Hahn?
Thank you, Chair Perez. You know, I understand this isn't required by the state. You know, there are certain things that parents look for no matter what type of education they're looking at. For me, you know, I know in the early childhood VPK arena, the gold seal is the National Association for Education of Young Children. Like, if you have that accreditation, like, that is the highest recognition you could receive as a VPK provider. And that's not required to run a VPK school. It doesn't mean if you don't have it, you're not running a great school. But, you know, there are certain accreditations that definitely kind of make you stand out from the pack. And maybe not every parent looks at that, or every, you know, stakeholder, but accreditations don't have to be required to have value. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Hahn. Member Gray?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Board Member Hahn. The accreditation, you know, when you set standards, and you set high standards, which this particular Cognia has done for many years, you're setting rigorous standards, high-level standards. So if you want to call yourself an A district, you need to have the validation, which is called accreditation. Because years ago, and I know you know this, Superintendent Van Ayers, and most of you guys been around, we did have accreditation. Remember, we had the long list of expectations. You had to send in your lesson plans. You know, every teacher every supervisor had to do a lot of work to prove that their school site was up to par. Now, let's just throw all that away. Let's don't get any accreditation. So how's the public perception? You know, how are we going to blast off why we're an A district? You know, so when you start watering down expectations and accreditations, you're really watering down the perception of a school district. And by the way, I don't know who mentioned it. It might have been Superintendent Van Ayers, but every major district has Cognia. And why are they keeping it? Because of the very things that Member Hahn and Member Combs and myself are saying. So, let's keep the higher standard. I don't want to see any more watering down, and it's just not it's not a healthy type of discussion on that level. Thanks.
Thank you. Seeing no further questions or comments, please vote when your lights appear. And it passes unanimously. Next item, 3.2, State of Florida statewide voluntary pre-kindergarten provider contract with Early Learning Coalition of Hillsborough County for 2026-27. Superintendent Ayers will highlight this item.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And board members, you've seen this agenda item before. You see it annually. Hillsborough County Public Schools has provided VPK services since the summer of 2006. The program has continued to grow, offering more opportunities every year. VPK is funded through reimbursements from the Early Learning Coalition for a maximum of 540 hours for the school year program and 300 hours for our summer program. For the 26-27 school year, VPK students will be able to stay for the entire school day due to the support of the tax referendum initiative. So I wanted to add to that. That's a great thing for our school district next year. Any students in Hillsborough County, part of our VPK, get the full school day for us. And approximately 1,720 students will be served at those school sites, to put a number to it. So the VPK program will offer several models. It's our blended voluntary pre-KA, our pre-K exceptional educator program services, which is our PEEPS, you hear them as, our VPK Pure, summer VPK, and our migrant VPK. And that is item 3.2. And you all know Emily Chimino is here, and of course Tracy Brown. Any questions or regarding 3.2?
Thank you, Superintendent Ayers. I need a motion and a second to approve item D 3.2. I have a motion by Member Combs and a second by Member Washington. Member Hahn, you pulled this item.
I did. Superintendent, thank you for highlighting the item. Thank you for the extended VPK day and expanding programs. If my questions have been answered, I should have pulled it back to consent. My apologies.
Seeing no further questions or comments, please vote when your lights appear. And it passes unanimously. The next item is it's item 5.2, Student Code of Conduct for 2026-27 school year. Dr. Rick Grace, Chief of Schools, will highlight this item.
Thank you, Chair Perez. A team of district leaders, school site principals, and assistant principals met to propose necessary revisions and updates to the Student Code of Conduct. A committee of parents and community members met a minimum of 4 times to review the document and provide input on additional items and items that needed to be updated. The district committee and the community members met 3 times in a large group setting on March 10th, April 21st, and May 20th to review the documents and make revisions and updates. A team of administrators, both site-based and district level, worked to update the elementary and secondary matrix. These were then reviewed by region superintendents and community members, and additional input was provided. I would also like to send a special thank you to the parents and community representatives. This was a special partnership because they not only shared concerns, but they also brought thoughtful solutions. And because of this partnership, we were able to make some great strides in updating our Student Code of Conduct.
Thank you, Dr. Grace. I need a motion and a second to approve item D 5.2. Member Washington, I have a motion by Member Washington and a second by Member Vaughn. Member Gray, Member Vaughn, Member Rendon pulled this item. Do you have any questions or comments?
I do. I can't.
Member Vaughn?
I can't figure out which one. Sorry, I couldn't figure out which one was my microphone. Okay, well, thank you for bringing this and for our couple meetings around it, because I always have a lot of questions. And there were some things I wasn't happy about, but again, that's not the things that I'm going to focus on. But what we did talk about, and I'm trying to figure out, because I know you said you weren't sure if you were going to be able to add it into this version, or if I should just ask it from the dais, and then we can ask Mr. Porter what happens if board members want it to be added. But around the dress code portion of it, I know that I had said some of my concerns that I think we've heard repeatedly from students is there's not fidelity around enforcing it, and that while a dress code could be laid out, there might be someone who wears spaghetti straps and it's not an issue and no one ever says anything about it, and there might be another student who's maybe more developed in certain areas and wears the same piece of clothing, and then there's there's disciplinary action taken against that student, and that even though the dress code should be pretty cut and dry, that it's kind of left open to personal discrepancy and it's being enforced differently, and that there are a lot of students who feel like targeted because sometimes that dress code is only enforced on them. So what I had hoped would be added, and you had prepared a statement, was some sort of additional piece of that emphasizes that this should be carried out across the board without any regard to that. Can you read the statement you had prepared that we talked about maybe having added to this?
Yes, definitely. And just to keep everyone in the loop regarding the conversation, so we wanted to add, just before the dress code language, a statement just showing the district's focus and commitment to non-discrimination based on gender, race, body type, and those types of things. So this is the statement that I prepared that, if approved, would go into that location. Hillsborough County Public Schools is committed to enforcing the student dress code in a fair, respectful, and consistent manner. Dress code expectations shall be applied equally to all students and will not be enforced differently based on a student's body type, body size, gender, race, ethnicity, disability, or any other protected characteristics. School staff will use professional judgment to ensure that dress code enforcement is objective, free from bias, and maintains the dignity of every student while supporting a safe and orderly learning environment.
Thank you. So, Mr. Porter, to have that added, is that a motion I'd have to make, or?
Let me ask it. So is that in there now, or that's something that is not in the draft?
That's something that would need to be added.
So it's not in the draft. So what I would recommend is that Ms. Vaughn, you make a motion to include the language Dr. Gray's read to be included in the Student Code of Conduct. You should clear the board for now. That would require a second and then a vote, but that would be the procedure to do that.
Okay. So I would like to make a motion to add the passage that Dr. Gray's added to the Student Code of Conduct.
Okay, and Ms. Rendon seconded. And you can have a discussion on that, or you can just merely vote and get back to the main body of the Student Code of Conduct.
I don't have any discussion. I just like that added.
Madam Chair, you should just ask for a vote. You're voting on the amendment that Dr. Gray's read that would add the language about the dress code to the Student Code of Conduct. Dr. Hahn, there's been amendment to the Student Code of Conduct. Got it. Okay. Thanks. I don't think I could. So you would just vote at this point. So the board should be cleared, and this is a vote on the amendment to the Student Code of Conduct.
Please vote when your lights appear.
Thank you.
Okay, so the effect of that is now the body that you will be voting on, the entire Student Code of Conduct, will include that language that Dr. Gray's read.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anyone else have any questions or comments? Lynn, I'm sorry, Member Gray.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And thank you, Dr. Graves. We met again yesterday. There is a need for cleaning it up and making it more succinct. And I know that I mentioned to Superintendent Van Ares that without examples and non-examples, without bullets, in other words, making it more readable, those are like picky little things. But you know what really impressed me is the fact that we have principals involved a lot of them, and they're the ones that have to face the repercussions and write the referrals or answer the referrals. So when you have the principals saying yes, and they are liking what they see, that's all just for me as an individual school board member. That to me is very, very important. And Member Washington, being a past leader in the administration, a lot of this responsibility lies with the principals and the individuals, and they are the ones that really have helped author. But that does not mean, such as what Member Vaughn suggested, it does not mean that we can't improve. It does not mean that we don't need a reevaluation. But all that being said, Dr. Graves, you agreed to. So next year, I mean, we're looking at an attendance policy. That's going to come at our workshop. And there's punitive values to the attendance policy. Civil suits, license being taken away. So, you know, such additions will need to be made. So with all that being said, I want to thank you for being very flexible. We are going to hire Superintendent Van Ayers. I would say we're having another person in charge of the student code of conduct shortly, so that then you'll get some assistance in getting that reformatted. That's all my remarks, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Gray. Member Rendon?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And thank you for your office. And this takes a lot of due diligence and a lot of work with our principals and our staff and our families in the community. One of the things I want to make sure that you could highlight here in the meeting is exactly how we're going to make sure all families are informed about the new handbook, and how are we going to, with fidelity, ensure that every student and every parent or guardian has received a copy of that moving into this next school year.
Thank you, Member Rendon. One of the things that we are moving towards this year is that there's an acknowledgement in focus. There's a online form, so all parents, all families, all guardians will have an opportunity to read through the student code of conduct and acknowledge that they have received it. This is something that school administrators will be able to keep contact of, or measure that progress regarding how many families have acknowledged it, and they can follow up as needed. Some families may want some hard copies that the schools will be able to provide, but we'll make sure that every single family, every single parent, guardian, they do have an opportunity to acknowledge the student code of conduct.
And then within our schools, what are we going to do to make sure students have information, and what are we going to provide some kind of training in the beginning of school, or what are we doing for students to make sure they are aware of our student code of conduct?
Yes, so we are encouraging all schools to either do some type of assembly, or if they are in elementary school, they will hold those school rules and classroom procedures. They will have those orientations within their classrooms, but at minimum, every school should be doing some sort of assembly or rally to go through every single component of the student code of conduct so that students are informed.
So if I've got a student that comes in the middle of the school year, is that going to, again, only go through focus, or will we make sure, like when the registrar is going through, that we go through that with the student at that time? Have we put that into our processes so that not only will it be on focus for them to acknowledge like any other new form, but then students will have that time in school as well?
Yes, we'll make sure that there is an onboarding process for any students who enroll after the school year has begun, so that someone can review that student code of conduct with them and make sure the parents understand that they do have an opportunity to go on and acknowledge that they received that form as well.
And then are we also going to be housing this when they go to the website, like where it's, because currently right now we have many times where policies aren't exactly quick and easy to find, and this, something like this, we want to make sure is as accessible as we can with our families.
Yes, so once this has been approved by the school board, we will immediately work with Ms. Tanya Arja and her communications department to make sure that it is added to the website, and that there is a link for all schools where parents can easily click on that link and have access to the student code of conduct.
Okay, and then where are we at as a administration level of our district to making sure that our principals and our teachers within each of our classrooms, they understand we're standing behind them as they implement what this student conduct says? Because I hear many times from internally within a classroom that their administrators is not giving them the fidelity to be able to implement referrals and things like that based on the student conduct. So how are we making sure that all teachers, all administrators feel that they have the ability to implement this student code of conduct?
So that we are having at small group meetings, the team is training administrators at the principal small group meetings. Some of those started today, others are continuing through this week and next week as well. But there are trainings on the updates when it comes to the student code of conduct, And additionally, each school is required to have a Tier 1 behavior management plan. So administrators will review that Tier 1 behavior management plan with schools, and that pretty much outlines behaviors that should be taken care of in the classroom versus behaviors that should be handled by administration. So there will be orientation at all schools for that as well.
Okay, and so then one next step further, because we want to make sure our community understands that we understand mistakes can be made, we understand there could be some interpretations, or we want to make sure that we do this with fidelity as well as transparency. Are we doing anything to then review referrals or any transfers or any of the major offenses within, that we can be monitoring those things to make sure that this is being done equitably across the district, no matter what school you are in, things are going to be implemented with fidelity and equality. What are we doing as a district to ensure that on another level?
So two things that we've already talked about is number one, increasing opportunities to have more calibration. And so using some of those real scenario referrals to go through with administrators during small group trainings to ensure that everyone's on the same page with how a behavior should be coded as well as the consequence. The other thing that we talked about is doing a small audit of referrals that come through. And it's more of an opportunity, again, just to calibrate with administrators, calibrate with my team as well, just to see as we look at behaviors to make sure that they are coded accurately and, again, ensure that the consequences are being provided equitably.
Okay, thank you. I know that, one of the main reasons that we want to make sure that all of our schools and all of our students feel healthy and they are safe within our schools, and that they understand that they are going to be able to be in an environment that's going to be conducive to learning, and a very safe environment that they feel secure and safe to be in. So thank you so much for your fidelity in implementing this.
Thank you, Member Rendon. Member Vaughn?
Thank you. I'll be very quick. Thank you, Member Rendon. Those are a lot of the questions that I still had, making sure everyone has access to that because it's really important. Secondly, to Member Gray's point, if any of the policies that you've referenced in this guide change subsequently at our policy workshop, we don't have to bring this back for a vote to revamp it. It will automatically update in the student code of conduct. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so I wanted to confirm that, and thank you for bringing that up because that was a question that I had. And I just also want to thank all the people who did a lot of hard work on this. I know you emphasized more than I've heard in previous years how you really worked with community members to make sure that their voices were a piece of this, and I know it's been kind of a controversial item to bring forward before with, some community concern, but it sounds like, you really worked to make sure that there were a lot of voices represented. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Vaughn. Member Washington?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Dr. Graves, thank you, too, for bringing this code of conduct. I was sitting up here thinking many a times we always have had the code of conduct in, but sometimes at schools emotions get involved and people make decisions that's not by the code of conduct. We probably won't ever defeat that part, but if we have good communications where all the schools know the code of conduct, and parents and the community, we'll operate much better. And thank you in that committee too, because y'all got going over the conduct. I tell you what, you did a great job. We really appreciate that, and this is what we need in order to eliminate a lot of griping from people about the code of conduct. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Member Washington. Member Combs?
Thank you. And I wanted to echo Member Washington's statements. Thank you for you and your team working on it. And thank you even for that young girl, Riley, who came here, months ago. She was talking about the uniform and it being like fingertip length. I think especially for young girls in high school and middle school, that really makes a difference. I think that will make a very big impact. But I think in the future, I would love to have this student code of conduct earlier, like in the spring, so that gives me more time for feedback and to give you feedback. So I would just ask for that earlier in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Combs. Seeing no further comments or questions, please vote when your lights appear. And it passes with a little music to it. Thank you. The next item, the next item is item 6.2, budget amendments for the period ending April 30th, 2026, and May 31st, 2026. And Jamie Lewis, Chief Financial Officer, will highlight this item.
Thank you, Chair Perez. 6.2 agenda item tonight requests approval for the April and May budget amendments. As the district approaches the end of our fiscal year ending on June 30th, the budget amendments are minimum as staff focuses and begins to focus on our closeout of the fiscal year to have an accurate and maintain a clear year-end financial position for our annual closeout. This year, for both April and May, for the general fund, there is no recommended budget amendments at this time. However, the district continues to monitor the financial challenges that we've talked about all year that we experience. Those include things like our enrollment challenges that we've experienced, including the impact of those declines on our revenue, persistent inflationary pressures that we're continuing to see, rising utility costs, and the refinement of our expenditure projections to align with accurate year-end activity. District leaders and finance staff will continue to evaluate these factors through the end of the fiscal year to ensure that the district concludes the year in the strongest possible financial position. The majority of April and May budget amendments are within our special revenue fund, which reflect our normal year-end closeout procedures and processes. These adjustments recognize final grant revenues received, align with appropriations with actual expenditures incurred, and ensure grant budgets are accurately reflect the program activity before the end of the fiscal year. Chair Perez, this is our summary for both April and May budget amendments.
Thank you. I need a motion and a second to approve item D, 6.2. I have a motion by Member Gray and a second by Member Rendon. Member Vaughn, you pulled this item. Do you have any questions or comments?
I don't about this one. I got my questions answered. Thank you very much.
Member Gray?
Thank you, Madam Chair. My question is, and this is a summation, looking at page 9 and 16, where we have the salaries. First of all, the hope is that we have an increase in the base student allocation, hopefully with our salaries. But I see that we have $113 million, an increase of $4 million from last year for instructional salaries. And then I see the per student funding, $9,337.67 as per the pre-K through 12 educational appropriation budget. Now that came in from Arrow, the lobbyist firm that we have, sharing what the appropriation budget is, and that's with $201 million for experienced teachers. So my question is, thank you, Mr. Lewis, too, for all the hard work you do. But what is the difference between the 2025-26 per student funding to this coming year, 2026 to 27?
That's a great question, Member Gray. So 2025, 2026, our BSA, which is our primary revenue driver that represents our funding, was $5,372.60 per student or per FTE. As we kind of bridge this year to next year, our increase for next year's budget, which is reflected in the tentative budget that we have before us tonight, is $5,457.60. In other words, it's an increase of $85 or 1.6% increase. And so as we see that as our primary revenue driver, and as we anticipate what we were able to do this year, as a reminder, the BSA for the current year that just ended in 25-26, our increase was only 0.8% that year. So as our district deals with all the challenges that we read off a few minutes ago that we're facing this year, and enrollment declines, inflationary costs that are rising, utility costs, everything that you're experiencing at home, the district experienced that tenfold. And so as we deal with that, as we see our primary revenue driver in the BSA, how do we overcome those challenges with these increases? And so as we consider that, 1.6% is the increase for next year. And those are things that we'll have to take into account as we try to develop next year's budget, which is reflected in the tentative budget. and then develop anything we want to do for our personnel.
And I thank you for that elaboration, because in the spirit of frugality, being frugal, etc., on every one of our expenses, we have to be reminded, and we are reminded, that we're not getting a whole lot of money from the state legislation at this time, and we are losing students. But, you know, the forecast for our fund balance, we may dip, correct, as the amount of students that we're losing and the amount of money that revenue source is kind of slim. Is that a fair statement to make?
It is a fair statement. You'll see our fund balance we did not, the reason for the fund balance, as we've mentioned before, is to provide us the flexibility during the school year to minimize or completely avoid disruptions at all costs. And so we utilized that during the year. So as this year we saw a dramatic decrease in our enrollment, which we've mentioned in previous board meetings. How do we overcome that? We use our fund balance to help overcome that during the year, and then we have to reevaluate where we're at and make any necessary adjustments that are needed. So that's what we did this year, and that's what we're happy to do, because that's the right thing, to minimize disruption through our school year, and then to regroup over the summer as we begin the next year. So that's what we did. Obviously, it's challenging. I wish we had a lot more money, but we're working through those challenges, as we've mentioned in many agenda items here tonight. That's a focus for us, and that's something that we're trying to look at on an individual case at the district.
Yes, and thank you for that, Mr. Lewis. And the motivation, Superintendent Van Ayers, for a sales tax, a referendum, is quite strong. Would you like to remark, because what we're hearing from our CFO is really kind of worrisome, and I think we need to address it publicly, that we're looking for a revenue source, sales tax.
Yeah, so we have on the ballot, will be in November, is approved by the county commissioners. We have our half penny sales tax. It'll be on the ballot, which is a renewal, a 10-year renewal. But that particular half penny sales tax, we've seen all the work of the Citizens Oversight Committee, our facilities team, and all the improvements we've made to our schools. It is another, based on our capital millage of 1.5, the millage rates are set by the state of Florida, the 1.5. In our school district, as we are student rich, property poor, does not generate the amount of property tax revenue based on that 1.5 that we need to keep up with our facilities. So, 10 years ago, that was one of the biggest things. You were on the board. One of the best things, biggest things that have happened to our school district, to be able to get to our facilities to a place where we can be proud of them and keep our schools running. And this next one on the ballot, we talked about our 1.0 mill that was passed just in 2024. This one coming up in November is just as important to keep our facilities in their best shape.
Well, thank you. And again, Mr. Lewis, thank you for your hard work, and thank you to your staff as well. And I believe we have a new person involved in your staff. Is it Ms. Shotwell? Or
no, we do not have Ms. Shotwell involved.
Oh, I believe we lost Ms. Shotwell. Then, okay.
Ms. Shotwell is a great asset to the district, and she has been, I'll give her credit, she's been pulling double duty and helping me out as a former GM of budget and our new chief of HR. So I'm thankful that she is sitting next to me, and I'm glad for our partnership.
Yeah, I know you're going to miss her. All right, thanks. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Member Gray. Seeing no further comments or questions, please vote when your lights appear. And it passes unanimously. Next item is the approval to advertise the 2026-27 tentative budget and millage rates for Hillsborough County Public Schools. Jamie Lewis, Chief Financial Officer, will highlight this item.
Madam Chair, Agenda Item 6.3 is requesting school board approval to advertise the district's tentative budget and proposed millage rates for the fiscal year 2026 and 2027. This action is the first required step in Florida's annual budget adoption process and serves to inform the public of the district's preliminary budget and proposed property tax rates that will be considered during the public budget hearing. Under Florida's process, the majority of districts' required operating millage rates are established or set by the state of Florida through the state's education funding process. The exception for Hillsborough is a locally approved 1.0 mill referendum, which was authorized by Hillsborough County voters and is determined locally in accordance with the voter-approved referendum. Advertising the tentative budget and millage rate does not constitute the final adoption. Rather, it initiates the statutory budget process and provides transparency to the public for the required public hearings and the final board approval. This year, and covered also in tonight's consent agenda item 6.4, the district will plan to have our first public hearing on July 28th and our final public hearing on September 15th. And then finally, for 26-27, our total mill rate that we'll be advertising is 6.3140, which is a slight decrease from the 6.340 from last year, or a negative 0.4% decrease in the total mills. Madam Chair, this is our summary for 6.3.
I need a motion. I need a, I have a motion by Member Rendon, a second by Member Washington.
Chair, if I could, so this is potentially confusing. This is only permission to advertise for the public hearings. This board will hold 2 full public hearings on the budget. So there's not really appropriate to get into substantive conversations or questions about the budget, because that really does need to be done legally in the context of your 2 public hearings. So this item is just to allow the staff, it's a statutory requirement, to advertise for the public hearing. So any questions you have about the budget or concerns should be done in the context of the public hearing, which will, first one will be on July 28th.
Okay. Did we already say the motion in the second? Yes? Okay, all right, yes.
Motion by Member Rendon, second by Member
Right.
Washington. Yes, questions about the advertising, not about the substance of the budget.
I got them all wrong. All ready. All right.
Member Rendon, you have any questions?
Ask whether advertising, how they're going to
No.
advertise,
No.
how much it's gonna cost.
Okay, let me ask this. Any other questions or comments regarding advertising? Seeing none, please vote when your lights appear. Yeah, you got shut down real quick. And it passes unanimously. Next item is item 6.5, resolution authorizing the issuance of the 2025 tax anticipation note and authorize the superintendent and board chair to approve all necessary documents. Jamie Lewis, Chief Financial Officer, will highlight this item.
Thank you, Madam Chair. 6.5 requests approval to obtain a tax anticipation note, or a TAN to be short, to provide a short-term liquidity and effectively manage cash flows throughout our fiscal year. This request is not driven by budgetary concerns or revenue shortfalls, but rather by the timing of when the district receives a significant portion of its operating revenues. The district relies heavily on property tax revenue to fund its general fund operations. For the 2026-2027 fiscal year, approximately $912 million in tax and property tax revenue is anticipated to support the general fund. While these revenues are included in the district's annual budget, they are not received evenly throughout the year. Property tax collections typically begin in November, with the majority of receipts occurring in December and January and February, followed by additional collections throughout the remainder of the fiscal year. As with many school districts, the timing creates a cash flow challenge because operating expenses, like including payroll and other obligations, begin on July 1st, several months before the majority of property tax revenue can be collected. After evaluating available options with district leadership, the finance department, and the district's financial advisors and consultants, our staff recommends obtaining a tax anticipation note. The TAN will provide a temporary cash bridge to the timing gap between expenditures and the receipt of property tax revenue, allowing the district to meet its financial obligations, continue timely salary enhancement payments under the referendum, and provide required distributions to charter schools without interruption. Approval of the TAN will strengthen the district's cash flow management while maintaining the district's commitment to its employees, students, and charter school partners. It's a practical financial management tool that addresses the timing of cash receipts rather than any underlying budget deficits or financial concerns. Chair Perez, this is our summary for item 6.5.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. I need a motion and a second to approve item D 6.5. I have a motion by Member Washington and a second by Member Rendon. Member Combs, Member Gray, and Member Vaughn pulled this item. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Okay, Member Vaughn.
Want me to go first? Okay. Put myself on the queue. I'll push my button. All right. Thank you, Mr. Lewis. I appreciate this. I am surprised you so confidently bring a TAN in front of us, because I know it's been an Achilles heel from board members who were previously on the board and had to go out for this. So it's interesting to see, that we need it. But I wanted to kind of pinpoint, because we had this conversation privately and I want to kind of have it publicly. Would we still need to go out for this if we weren't front loading the money for the charter schools to pay their employees early as well?
We would be in a lot better shape in a cash standpoint if we were not doing that. And so that is one of the biggest levers that's causing our request here tonight. I can't say it's the only, but it is a major challenge for us. And we elected to do that. We elected to start that on July 1st to make sure our employees were receiving the referendum early.
Our employees, but not to say charter schools. I know there's a whole conversation. Are they our employees? Are they public school employees? But they are managed by a private board and they have different budgets.
Correct.
So they could elect to pay their employees. We wouldn't have to take that burden on paying it early, making our reserves go down before the year started if they elected to take that financial burden on themselves. Is that correct?
Good, but we will provide them the necessary funds. It will be up to them to make the determination of how they'll utilize that. I think that's what you're asking.
Well, I think when we talked about it, I was like, why are we taking the money out beforehand to pay the charter school employees? And you had referenced other districts had tried not to, and then that, I don't understand, was there a legislation or it's not allowed by the state? I'm still unclear about what guides those decisions around paying charter schools early for the referendum.
In our first year, last year, we worked closely with our legal team to determine what was the right process regarding our charter schools. Mm-hmm. After many conversations with charter and with our legal team and with what other districts have experienced in trying to maybe potentially delay that, it was through those situations and those outcomes and our recommendation to start that on July 1st. Obviously, that puts an additional financial challenge on the district that we did not anticipate last year, which is one of the reasons why we got a little stressful last year trying to get through that as we were learning through this new, because it was our first year having it. But it is a challenge. And so as we talked, those monies don't come in until really to Christmas time. And as it comes in, what do we do for the first 5 or 6 months of this fiscal year? And we're providing both groups, both our employees, which is our number one priority, and number two, our charter schools. That put us in a financial cash situation, not a budgetary problem, but we were just spending more money than we actually had in the bank account, and we had to figure out ways that we could overcome that. The TAN will help us overcome those challenges.
Now, is there interest on the TAN?
There will be interest on the TAN.
Are the charter schools helping to pay that interest that we're incurring so that we can pay their employees?
A good question that we'll look into.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Vaughn. Member Gray?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So the central rationale for the TAN, and I know both Member Perez and Member Hahn, we went through this in not a very friendly way because we didn't want to have to do it, but we had to. So now your had to, or your why, is that we have to be able to continue our referendum work. Is that the main rationale?
It is. It's our newest challenge that did not exist the last time this was discussed. But again, I want to emphasize that $912 million will come through property taxes without any of those funds coming before November, and the bulk of that coming in the later part or early part of the next year. So even without the referendum, it's still a timing challenge that the district has really had a hard time trying to manage through. And so as we consider that, if you think about it, if we got equalized paychecks throughout the entire year, that makes things a lot easier because every other week we're getting the same paycheck. That isn't how our revenue comes in. Our revenue, FEFP, comes in on a regular basis, but the rest of our revenue that we have comes in different parts of the year. But over 40% of that's related to property taxes, and again, that won't come in until 5 or 6 months down the road. So referendum's our newest challenge, which has highlighted this challenge that we have, but it's not our only problem. Our problem is the collection of property taxes does not occur until months after our fiscal year begin, yet our bills begin in July. And those are things that we have to find mechanisms to cover.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis, for that explanation. The other question, which is a commonality of any type of loan or the perception of our bond agency, will this affect our rating, taking out this amount of money?
We've had a conversation with one of our rating agencies to let them know through that conversation that this would be occurring. One of the first questions they did ask us was, did we just recently have a referendum passed? And we did say yes. And that is one of the more common reasons why districts do get a TAN, is because that referendum, where a lot of districts, again, like we're doing, pay it out right away. So again, they have to find a mechanism to help cover that cash flow challenge as you decide to pay early before the money will come in. And this is one of the reasons that will happen.
Okay. Well, thank you for that explanation. What about the effects on our investments?
So this will allow us to have better investment control. And what I mean by that is we won't have to, in an emergency, liquidate everything that we have because we found the necessary cash flow. So, for example, if you have an investment and it's not the right time to liquidate, then you can manage through that. And then we have our financial advisors that help us work through all of that. So this allows the district to effectively manage its cash flow from all angles in a more effective way, and it gives us the available cash to make sure and ensure us that payroll demands can be met if the revenue and cash hasn't been received yet.
Thank you for that as well. And then another added bullet goes to Member Vaughn's comment. It's very troubling that we are spending $330 million on the charter schools. And I don't know, we've had some arguments. I mean, do we owe them the renovation monies? Do we owe them new building, new wings? Do we owe them delayed maintenance costs? Angela Crooks needs to explain. Somehow we need to have that satisfied, because those questions that Member Vaughn asked are very important. So let's get an answer to that, and try to. I don't know how you can justify it. It just seems very awkward. So I would like that to be done, and I'm going to go ahead and yield the floor because I think Member Vaughn wants to continue. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Member Gray and Member Vaughn.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Member Gray. I just have one follow-up question. Is it a possibility that we could be front-loading those salaries, giving it to the charter schools, but they not pass it on and pay those employees early? Because I have heard that some charter school employees said they weren't getting the money early. So is it a possibility we're taking out a TAN note, we're paying the interest to front-load the charter so they can pay their employee, but is there anything else that then regulates to follow up to make sure that money gets passed on to their employees early?
There will could be the possibility we don't have those records to indicate,
But for the guidelines that force us to include the charter school,
provide the revenue.
do they have any part of those guidelines that then say they have to pay their employees, or can they just use that money however they want and pay their employees whenever they want?
Correct. That goes to their board, and that's how they decide to utilize those dollars. So many of our charters where we do the 6,000 and 3,000, they have that choice to make as a board on how they put those dollars out. Our only task is to ensure that revenue goes at the beginning of the year. But those decisions, the 6,000, 3,000, because I heard some of the same complaints probably you did, that our employees were getting the 6,000 and 3,000, they weren't getting the same amount so they're all a little bit different. We just have to give the revenue to the charters.
So just to clarify what I'm understanding, we're giving them money early under our guise of making sure employees get access to funds early, but they may not use it for that at all. So we might be paying interest just to give a blanket amount of charter schools to spend at their discretion.
That's a fair statement.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for clarifying that for me.
Thank you, Member Vaughn. Member Combs.
Yeah, and thank you, Member Vaughn and Member Gray, for bringing up some of these points. I had a similar question to that, and to really compare what other districts are doing and how they're handling that. Also, we spoke about this briefly on the phone, not this year, but last year, we were not made whole by many students. There was quite a few students, and there was a loss of revenue on that. How much of that loss of revenue was there from last year where we didn't get paid for students that we provided service to?
You referencing for charter schools?
I'm talking about for students that came into our public schools where the state of Florida didn't pay for all of those students, where they didn't make us whole completely for last year. Remember, there was some students, there was some,
Yes.
Yes.
The year before. Yeah, the
Yes,
third
yes.
calculation, I think Member Vaughn had referenced
Yes.
this earlier tonight, the third
yes,
calculation.
like it was over a year ago.
Two fiscal years ago.
Yes.
ma'am.
Okay.
So that is, the state has the ability to, again, as we announced that night, to reappropriate their appropriation. In other words, kind of redo what they had already set in place to do. I'll tell you a positive thing for that is this past year and this year that just ended, the state did set aside money for declining enrollment, and our district was able to receive a couple $1 million in addition that we did not expect. And so that was a positive that we just found out, and they just sent a memo out about that. So it doesn't offset that, but there is times where we do receive extra money. But the instant you're talking about, that was their ability to offset that, and they did that. We have looked back in our history that has happened before.
And how much was that?
I think off the top, I can't, 18 million, but
Yeah, so I mean,
careful with
18
that quote.
million. They gave us till 2 million. I mean, that's still 16 million. We're not whole.
It's challenges.
Yeah. I mean, I just think it's really important that we discuss this. We talk about this. You know, if I'm not saying to file a lawsuit, but it's really important that the public understand what's happening when we're providing service to students and we're not getting paid, and when the budget keeps decreasing, and when we have to pay ahead of time and the charters aren't necessarily, and money's not trickling down. It's like that type of messaging and that type of information needs to be discussed often and needs to be discussed in public, because that's the only way that's going to change things in Tallahassee, is to put some pressure on there to make sure that it's leveraged, that things are fair. Same thing as if you're going to use taxpayer money, then I don't want a child selling water at the corner and not there's no oversight on that, right? So I think there needs to be the same oversight, and the conversations need to continue coming, because it's really not about public versus private. It's really about making sure that if you're servicing a child, that you get paid for it, and also that we have an educated society, that taxpayer money is being trickled down, and that there's the same oversight regardless of where a child goes, that there's oversight and that they are getting an education. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Combs. Member Rendon?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do want to highlight the fact that one of the reasons that we had the situation we had 2 years ago with not receiving the correct FTE was because we have not, as a state of Florida, although we adopted HB1, we have not yet, in universal school choice, we've not yet separated out the funds throughout the budgetary process in the state of Florida. And it's critically important that our public understands that that is something that as a state, we need to identify that where the funds are exactly going, and making sure there's transparency and exactly the funds are going to the needed places so that each entity is getting the necessary funds. I do also want to make sure that we acknowledge the fact that over the course of this last year, between day 10 and day 100, we did have throughout the entire state of Florida a loss of students within all of our within our school system. It was completely, and based upon that, our state legislative did make accommodations to reimburse us for some of those lost students that we would not have been paid for. But it is critically important that we as a community understand that we need to make sure that each of the different entities within the school choice program are properly funded through the state of Florida. And so that's something we all should be, matter of fact. I also want to make reference that the reason we are doing the situation we're doing with our charter schools and paying the portion of the referendum, paying a portion of when we are going to allocate the funding to our own staff early, and how that works, that is not something that Hillsborough County themselves has chosen to do. It is something that we are mandated by the state of Florida through our statute of Florida Statute 1011.71 in order for us to maintain and working with our charter schools and that are under our umbrella, that we must be with any referendum dollars and our FTE funding, we are to be allocating that as we are allocating ourselves. And so this is not something we are choosing to do. It is not something, but because we're required by law to do it, it puts us in positions that we want to make sure that we are sound budgetarily in a cash flow basis. We do not want to interfere in our investments that are bringing additional income into our our district. And so because of that, this TAN is going to allow us to keep our investments and some of our income streams still coming in, but yet still enabling us to pay out those referendum dollars prior to getting this year's taxes. So I just want to make sure that in the transparency, this is not something we're choosing to do, but because we're in this position, we want to make the best, and we are being advised also by our financial advisors to do something in this sense.
Yep. I also wanted to make the note too, and it's something we had talked about earlier, but I think it's really important. This is a short-term loan. This is not a long-term loan. It will be this will be an annual process we go through that where we'll pull it after the beginning of the fiscal year, and then it will have maturity date before the close of the fiscal year. Again, this is only from an operational standpoint to help us with our cash flow. This is nothing related to a budget deficit or some other challenge related to that. This is purely to help us manage our cash flows effectively, to Member Rendon's point, and it allows us as a tool that we can use. And I will say that most districts, almost all of them, utilize this tool already, and we're one of the ones that currently do not. So,
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Member Rendon. Seeing no further questions or comments, please vote when your lights appear. And it passes unanimously. The next item is item D 7.9. Request for proposal for fire alarm system. Superintendent Ayers will highlight this item.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and this is the next and last item, so we're at our last item tonight. So this RFP provides maintenance, repair, and upgrades to non-proprietary and proprietary fire alarm systems such as Edwards, Faraday, Fahrenheit, Honeywell, CMaine, and Silent Light Night, and our alarm panels as needed district-wide. This RFP provides a service component supporting the Communications and Electronics Department in providing maintenance, repairs, and installation for fire alarm system. This RFP works in conjunction with the Safety and Risk Management Department and provides a service component based on the district inspection protocol for fire system, and that is 7.9.
Thank you. I need a motion and a second to approve item D 7.9. I have a motion by Member Combs, a second by Member Washington. Member Combs, you pulled this item. Do you have any questions or comments?
Yeah, I mean, I just pulled this item really quickly because this is something that, you know, we went out and we did an RFP. We had a lot of providers. This is something that obviously I know Alonzo had a fire this year. There's, you know, this is a safety thing that we cannot get around. But I just wanted to mention, because when I see things like this and I see the Department of Education's budget coming down, in 2023 we paid $684,000 for this service. In 2026, so you're talking a few years later, it's $1.7 million. So you're going from $684,000 to $1.7 million on something that you cannot go around. You have to have fire extinguishers. We did an RFP, so you're looking at more than a 100% increase of that. I mean, it's just not sustainable when you look at what's happening with the budget, when you look what's happening with funding, and then you see things like this, $684,000 and $1.7 million. It's just not long-term sustainability, and it has nothing to do with superintendent and your team not being really fiscally careful. It has nothing to do with us not looking at every single agenda item. It has to do with the price of doing business has gone up high, but we're not even getting increased with the rate of inflation. So when I see an item like this, it's like, how can I say, let's go back to a $686,000 contract? No, cost $1.7 million to have that fire extinguisher. So it's just really a sad situation, and we need to continue talking about this over and over. When you see these contracts, we're doing the best we can to bid on them, but that's just the cost of living. Fuel, gas, everything is costing so much more day-to-day living. The only thing that's not increasing is our FTE and our base student allocation.
Thank you, Member Combs. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Please vote when your lights appear. And it passes unanimously. Now we will move on into the superintendent's comments.
We made it. So thank you, Madam Chair. And I have a few slides on our superintendent's updates. I'll start off by saying this. The slide you see in front of you, hasn't happened to our school district in over a decade for us to reach this milestone. So it was such a pleasure. I know we received the first week in July. When I called each of you before it was kind of publicly released, that was to think that we'd be at this point is extremely exciting. It just goes to all the hard work of everyone. What I love about the district grade is it's our entire organization, right? It's everyone in our entire school district that has worked so hard, and it's nice to see results that show all the hard work that we've put in, that we're getting the results that are desired and the results that we achieved. It's just a great honor, and I know it's our entire system is extremely pleased with that. So I just wanted to note that it's our first A rating in more than a decade, and reflecting continued academic growth and excellence across the district. The district A grades follows a year of significant student achievement, including the highest graduation rate in district history and an increase in the college and career acceleration rate, which we talked a little bit about tonight, demonstrating that more students are graduating prepared for success after high school. So how did we get there? This is a great slide that just kind of summarizes it over the last 3 years. You can see just the great results that we've achieved across there. And as you take a look, we improved in 11 of 12 categories used by the Florida Department of Education to calculate district grades, demonstrating broad-based academic growth across the district. Gains were seen in student achievement, learning gains, support for the lowest performing students, acceleration opportunities, graduation outcomes, and college and career readiness. The fact that we improved in 11 of 12 categories shows that our strategies are working. Our challenge now is to build on that momentum, continuing closing gaps, and ensure every student in Hillsborough County Public Schools has access to the opportunities and support needed to succeed. So that slide right there kind of sums things up. We talked a little about the school accountability. Member Vaughn, you had asked some questions earlier around accountability. This is a pretty simple way in which the state of Florida takes almost every metric that we're measured upon and compiles the scale and puts a district grade. And it's our first time, as I mentioned, in over a decade that we achieved this milestone. It just goes to all the hard work that has gone in over the last number of years to get us to this point. And we mentioned, I've heard a lot of you mentioning them tonight, of our U-Fly and our different, we talked about our advanced placement. All those things that this board talks about are part of this district grade that goes to improve those numbers. So to improve in 11 of 12 categories like that is really amazing. I heard some great compliments tonight from you, board, on our exceptional staff that's here tonight, and also the ones that are listening at home. All of our teachers, all of our instructional support staff. This A belongs to every single one of our 25,000 employees across the school district, and it makes me proud to be superintendent of a school district that has, just as I mentioned, always great people that work so hard every single day. It's our consistency, it's in our work every day being consistent, that's making this school district grade what it is. I'm so very proud of that. So that's the school district grade. And we also had some other ones that I kind of mentioned a little bit earlier. You'll see more than incredible highlights. So of our 214 traditional schools that received a school grade, 127 of them earned an A or B. Number of A-rated schools went from 7 to 74 from 70. The number of B-rated schools went from 44 to 53. 2 elementary schools improved by 2-letter grades, moving from a D to a B, and that was Booker T. Washington and Wilson Elementary. Those are 2 schools that were on our transformation, one of them in our transformation network, the other one obviously a D on the state list last year. And I know Mr. Washington, we've talked about BT, Ms. Rendon, we've talked about Wilson before, and it's just great to see that improvement, being a D and having that dramatic improvement, just incredible. So really proud of those 2 schools. As I mentioned earlier, Lamb Elementary went from an A to a D in 4 years' time. So that D to C to B to an A. And for the first time in district history, and Shay McCrae's not here, but for the first time in district history, we've gone from Mr. Washington, you know this, we've had achievement schools, we'd have focus schools, we gave it every single name. Transformation Network now, this is the first time any of those network of schools, and now we have the most in that network that are supported by, Shay McCrae and all of our great region superintendents and the Transformation Network, everybody. I'll be talking to those leaders on Thursday, but it's the first time in district history that all of our Transformation Network schools earned an A, B, or a C, and that is a truly an amazing accomplishment, especially when we think back to the narrative 3 years ago when we had 29 D's and 4 F's, the most D's and F's in the state of Florida, and that no longer exists by far. So just a shout out to Transformation, every school earning an A, B, or C. And also we had the school improvement ratings, and if you look at the bottom, our schools included in the list retain the highest rating of commendable, and that's our Medical Academy at D.W. Waters, Simmons Career Center, South County Career Center, and Willis Peters joins this list for the first time. So congratulations to those incredible teams. All these achievements are a result not only of the hard work of our student teachers, support professionals, school administrators, but also our laser-like focus on high-quality instruction in every classroom and intentional progress monitoring to drive these impressive results. And I will tell you, we're ready to build on this momentum. We have our joint principal meeting where it's our first official, kickoff. That'll be next Thursday over at Chamberlain. So I know board members, a lot of you attend our initial joint principal, so we'll be definitely celebrating and there's a celebration piece, but there's the great part of this is to build upon that great momentum and continue to shine and continue to get better. So this has been a great couple of weeks to receive these results. And then we had those results, and then of course in July, it's all the results pile in, and this is the one, truly, I knew we were headed in, with the Nate School District, following, listening to Dr. Gray's, Mr. Brady on our school district grade, but we just last year had our highest AP participation rate at AP pass rate of 70%, and I was preparing myself for it was already at 70, it may drop, and when those results came back, and Mr. Brady and Giselle, gave me a call and let me know of our pass rates. We talked about things that are nationally recognized. Well, this right here, to Member Combs' point, this is our highest pass rate ever. These are exams that are given everywhere across this nation, and to think that 71% pass rate. I mean, if you look just from 2022, we can talk a lot about metrics. If you look from 2022 to 2026, from a 53 to a 71, an 18% point increase in AP, not participation. Many, many years ago, we were measured on participation. I want to mention that. When they had school grade and district grades back in the 2012, 13, a lot of the scales were based on AP participation. That is no longer. It is, sitting in front of that test and passing with a 3, 4, or 5, and to think that 71%, that's almost 3 and 4. And I'm sure that'll be our goal of Mr. Brady and the team to reach that 75% soon, but truly incredible. And not only that is that we had the AP pass rate that went up, but we had more exams that were given as well. The number of exams that we gave went up as well. So you have that in our IB as we know, and then of course we await our ACE results. But we all thought, when we went ACE across our school district, that AP would suffer. That was the narrative. Well, numbers show it does not. They continue to move up, and a lot of this goes to in our teach. And I want to give a shout out to this for obviously all of our schools, but our teachers. A lot of them now. We have our AP Summer Institute. Is that going on now, Mr. Brady? Your AP Summer Institute? Yeah, it's going on now. So we have teachers right now that one of our best top areas that we have as a school district of professional development on teachers is our AP Summer Institute, where our teachers go to USF and receive instruction on how to teach their content, whether it's AP Calc, AP US History. That has been one of the best things that our school district has done, and you see the results for it. Just a tremendous increase in pass rate. So shout out to everybody. Again, this goes to the entire school district, but special shout out to all of our AP teachers for all the hard work they put in over the summer to be ready. This is phenomenal. And then we have some IB, and I know board members, you're all looking at your schools and how they did, and we continued. We had a 3.6% increase in Hillsborough County, our IB seniors earning that prestigious diploma. So you see our pass rate, our diploma rate went up to 90.4%. So we went up from 86.7 to 90.4. So all of our schools did an amazing job. Shout out to Strawberry Crest, obviously with a 99% pass rate, but all of our schools, all 5, you figure all of our IB schools, our ACE programs that are happening along with AP, very, very proud. And board, just wanted to, thank you as well. Obviously, all of the things we put in place under this board's leadership. So thank you. And that was 416 diplomas earned. And then on top of that, we had over another 800 dual enrollment courses taken as well. In our school district. So those are our results. We'll continue to celebrate. We have a board meeting on the 28th, and we'll welcome our teachers back. We're starting to get some. We have our Secretary 4 meeting tomorrow. I'll be out in the morning over at Tampa Bay Tech. So we're starting to get our employees that are starting to come back into our school year district. July 31st will be our first day for teachers, and we'll continue to build upon this great momentum that we achieved last year. And Madam Chair, those are my updates.
Thank you. Now we'll move on to board member comments. Board members, just a reminder, you only have 5 minutes. Keep it on 5 minutes.
Yes, ma'am.
And you have 30 seconds for final thoughts. So that's 4 minutes and 30 seconds and 30 seconds for final thought. Yes. Member Washington.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First, I want to say thank. I want to thank all the employees, not only teachers, but everyone for their effort to make this an A district, but especially the teachers and the students. It's great. We have done a great job in Hillsborough County. Especially, I got to congratulate all the teachers and students and employees in District 5. This is the first time we have not had a F or a D in District 5. Very first time. So I want to thank all the employees for doing a wonderful job. That's difficult to do, people. We have done almost the impossible. It's difficult to do. But we'll do better next year. We'll have all A's in all of them. Okay. So on June 18th, we had Juneteenth flag raising. I want to thank Commissioner Gwen Myers for doing a great job with the flag raising. It was really, really, really good. We had quite a few people more than we had last year. Yeah. So we had board members that went and superintendent. So
Miss McCrae was there too, but she was complaining it was too hot. It was.
Yeah, that's right, wasn't it? Yeah, I had to drink some water myself. I tell you, it was really hot out there. It really was. And I want to say congratulations to Chief John Newman on his retirement. Chief has done a wonderful job, but now we have the new Chief, Anthony Collins. Congratulations on your appointment. On June the 23rd, we attended the Avid Summer Institution. Boy, you talking about great. It was nationally recognized professional learning event bringing together approximately 300 Hillsborough County Public Schools educators and thousands more across the United States to attend the session and collaborate in district site team groups. It was phenomenal. We had a great time. I had an opportunity to speak to Hillsborough County teachers, but I tell you, we had a little boy at 5th grade. I think he was in the 5th grade. He did a phenomenal job speaking about Avid. And we also had a teacher from Durant, and she was part of Avid when she was in the school district. So it was really great. It's outstanding to see young people and how great the Avid program is doing, not only in Hillsborough County, but all around. It's really neat. And then we had the Exploring the World Language Summer Camp, which was really good over at Rampello. Miss Magato, she left, but I tell you, they did a great job. The kids put on a play. I mean, beyond approach. It was really phenomenal. And Gary, you were there too. I thank you. Thank you. And somebody else was there. But anyway, we had a great time. The kids they did a great job. They did really an excellent job. And on the July the 11th, which was this weekend, we had the 8th annual Hillsborough County Operation Gala. And I just want to thank David for putting it on. His great organization was really phenomenal. We had more people than we had before. We really had a great time there. I enjoyed. My wife enjoyed. We enjoyed. We just had a great time. Something else before I close, I want to also make a comment on Hillsborough County Public School proudly celebrates 13 outstanding students who will travel to Chicago the 15th to the 19th to compete in the 4th annual NAACP National Afro Academic Culture, Technology, and Scientific Olympiad, AXO. So we're looking forward for the kids, our students, to come back with the trophies. I spoke to Mrs. Lewis not too long ago. She's excited. So hopefully they'll bring back more trophies than we did and awards than we did last year. So that's all I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Member Washington. Member Vaughn?
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's my turn, right? That's what you just said? Okay, sorry. We were laughing about soccer over here. Anyway. Thank you. Pablo, you have a slide, right? First thing I want to say is today I was able to go over to Freedom High School where they have a new principal and they were doing an open house to kind of showcase all the things that they have for our students in our communities. And I just want to highlight that, people think that over summer our employees stop working and they never do, right? We're not even in August yet and they're already hosting open houses. I was talking to the orchestra band camp guy. They put on a whole band camp for incoming students that lasts a week and a half at their own expense. And I just want to highlight that all throughout the summer, our employees, our principals, our teachers are still working, a lot of them, to make sure our students are ready to go for the next year. So today was a great event. Our community is super excited about some new leadership at one of our schools and getting behind it. And I just hats off to the new principal there. She's already rolling out great things and just telling the community about all the things that Freedom has to offer. And the staff was excited and there was just energy in the air. So I wanted to highlight that. So thank you for that, Pablo. And also speaking to, our letter grade, which thank you for showing that first picture. I feel like our A could have been a little bigger in that picture. It's a tiny little A. But I want to say thank you to the hard works to everybody, from our staff. And, I posted about it on social media as soon as we did it. And everybody was so excited. But I do want to point out that the number one comment that I got was, now pay our teachers. You got an A, pay our teachers. And I feel like I got that comment so many times. I just had to reiterate that publicly at one of our board meetings, that's how our community responds, is that absolutely everybody at the district, your leadership, the hard decisions that we've made all help steer that ship. But every single day who's putting in those work face to face is our staff at the school level. And we have to continue to find ways and advocate to make sure that we're prioritizing paying our staff a livable wage, because we can't celebrate that and then not prioritize that. So I just wanted to say, kind of point out that was the number one comment I got. I want to say congratulations to Wharton, Folsom, Muller, Carrollwood, and Tampa Palm specifically for raising your letter grade. I know how much hard work goes into that and some of those challenges that each of those schools face individually. So congratulations. And it feels like summer's speeding by so quickly. I can't believe we're already into July, and it seems like before we know it, it's going to be the beginning of the year and all the back to school events. So I just want to encourage our employees that aren't working throughout the summer to continue kind of recharging and trying to get ready, because it sounds like, with new standards as far as letter grades and all the stuff that we're rolling out, the work is going to continue and next year is going to be another challenge. So take the advantage while you can now and take a rest, and, excited about the new oncoming school year. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Vaughn. Member Combs?
Thank you, Member Vaughn. It's like we were in the same mode, because I was thinking that our principals and our administrators and our cabinet never get a break. But thank you to everyone. the entire team. Our students worked so hard, and I know they worked hard because we created an environment and a culture where kids want to do their very best. I think from the security to nutrition, the buses, the paraprofessional, the administrators, the teachers, I mean, it's an entire team. When a school ends up being successful and they maintain those grades, and even if some schools do go slightly down, we know we're an A district. People are working so hard, and every single day, everyone's working so hard. And I also want to thank everyone, because this is a very busy time of the year, especially for our principals. It's the busiest time of the year because they're preparing for our teachers to be back. I know the cabinet's really working very hard. All our supervisors, everyone's preparing for a great school year. Last week, I did meet with Mel James, who is involved with the Superintendent's Advisory Council for Education. And Superintendent, she really talked about what a big difference that is making with Dr. Lesperance and you, the Superintendent's Advisory Panel. And some of the things that she discussed some of the major accomplishments were expanded parent engagement and advocacy. They created new parent resources and educational workshops. They strengthened the district and community partnerships. They increased family participation and communication. And they also, there was a lot of committee and work, and they felt like it was very impactful. And they said, with the support of Superintendent Van Ayers and Dr. Lesperance, the Advisory Council has expanded opportunities for parent leadership, strengthened collaboration between families in the district, and created meaningful avenues for improving services and outcomes for students with disabilities. Together, we're building a stronger partnership that benefits students, families, and our schools. And I really appreciate you doing that. That's why I think it's very important that when we do have a superintendent, that we continue to have your leadership and we're able to choose the superintendent. So Pablo, if you would like to share this last flyer, this is something that I created a while ago, and it's basically say no to an elected superintendent. So I wanted to highlight, believe it or not, this is going to be on our ballot in November. Is it in other ballots on the large districts in the state of Florida? No. We have been the ones who were chosen. So, which is unfortunate, but let's go from the top. We are able to annually evaluate you, accountable and replaceable. If tomorrow I felt that we weren't happy with you, we could replace you. If we had an elected superintendent, they could do whatever they want to do for 4 years. That's why previously, many years ago, there was an elected superintendent here in Hillsborough County, but they were removed for embezzlement. Okay. So right now, that's what we want to do. Go back 50 years. It keeps education out of politics. I can't imagine you running an A district and running for office. I will tell you, as someone who's run for office, it's a full-time job. So I can't imagine you running for superintendent at the same time running this district. We get the most qualified leader. It's a national search. This gives it to just elected local politician to choose from. It's real accountability. The voters elect the school board. The board hires, evaluates. Our voters are choosing 7. They're electing 7 school board members. So we are the ones who are able to hire or fire you. So you already have that accountability. It's the right model for the large district. As one of the nation's largest school districts, Hillsborough needs an experienced education CEO focused on students, schools, and results, not focused on property and contracts and things of that nature. We want you to be focused on students. Finally, all the large districts hire. Miami-Dade, Broward, Orange, Palm Beach, even Pinellas right here. Why is Hillsborough going to be the only one on the ballot to choose that? I mean, why is that? And lastly, less than 1% of the districts in the nation do that. There's only 2 states that do that. That's Alabama and Florida. And look at your NEA rankings. They're not through the roof, those 2 states. You're looking at the South where the rankings aren't high, where literacy, numeracy is lower, and less than 1% out of 13,800 school districts, everyone hires them. So wake up, everyone. Make sure you vote no against this in November. I'm going to continue talking about this every single opportunity I can. And, we're not electing the CEO of a hospital. Okay. We're not electing the CEO for, technology, but we're trying to do that to you. So it's just wrong in every single way. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Combs. Member Gray.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Member Combs, for those remarks. What a time in history that we have to ask the public to make this choice. And Superintendent Van Ayers and leadership and cabinet, I'm going to I have to read this because I wrote so many darn things, I can't memorize it all. But how did we receive an A district rating for the first time in over a decade? So first, we are student-centered. This whole board is student-centered. The superintendent is, the cabinet. Every one of us support student safety, mental well-being. Thank you, Member Perez. I know you're in there as well. And overall success. We offer relevant and dynamic learning opportunities. Our district continues to expand programs that reflect students' interests and prepare them for college, careers, and life beyond graduation. And leadership counts, Superintendent Van Ayers. Your leadership has helped build confidence, positivity, and trust throughout the district. By equipping staff with the tools and support they need, our district has created the conditions for this A district rating. I hope you're listening, and I hope your ears are burning here. A shared achievement. This A grade reflects the dedication and collaboration of many people in our partners across the district and community, including academic supervisors led by example Gary Brady, Shay McCrae, Tracy Brown, Marcus Murillo, our hard work, and by the way, sorry about the right-hand side, but you all included, our hardworking principals, support employees, resource officers, CTA, I don't know where you are tonight, but thank you, HASA, community you're welcome. Community partners, educational and security partners, the Hillsborough Education Foundation, Mayor Jane Castor, bus drivers, food service staff, and supportive school board members. Transformation Network, such a large, Member Washington, you just must be so happy. First time in the history that they've received A, B's, and C's, and nothing below. And most significantly and most importantly, and you all know what I'm going to say, it is our teachers. They are the central part of the equation that made this A grade possible. So whoever's listening, thank you, teachers. Your daily commitment has made a difference. Now, I still have some minutes. Real quick. So we have, thank you, Anne-Marie Courtney, for doing this. Our Race for Education has been approved by the USF president. We will have it at USF November 7th. We intend to have this as a huge success. We now have the president, thank you, Dr. Mose Lehman. Don't say I'm pronouncing it wrong, because I probably am. So, but basically we want to make this the best. And by the way, board members, I am going to get you more stopwatches so you can start practicing. Next, regarding the possibility of the renovation of the Turkey Creek multipurpose, Superintendent Van Ayers, if you wouldn't mind, can you bring back the guaranteed maximum price along with any appropriate funding considerations so the board can have that in front of them? You don't have to say yes or no. I'm just going to ask that you do so. Okay, thank you. And last, AI. Do we have any time? Show the AI Institute. Gary Brady is the star person. 300 teachers took their time out this summer to go to this summit. And this man, the Magic School genius, his name is Adil Khan, he was right there with the teachers. They were doing everything they could to really not only make it happen in their classrooms, but they just showed so much enthusiasm. And we are going to have a lot of very well-trained teachers because of this. So, you're talking about 300 teachers, by the way. That's pretty impressive. And I think, Member Perez, I think I'm going to be right there under time. So that's it for me.
Thank you, Member Gray.
You can have my 20.
Thank you, Member Gray. So, first, I want to talk about the back-to-school clinics that are being, by Project Link is having the back to school clinics, which I know a lot of parents need, especially for their babies, and it's only $10 per family. So, you know, if you have 5 kids, 8 kids, it's $10 for them. So the first one was at Piso, and that was this past Saturday. And it's happening for every Saturday until August 8th, but it's different locations. So if you go on to www.b2shc.org, you could see the dates and the times and locations for those physicals. And mine's is going to be very brief. Happy birthday, member Vaughn.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thursday.
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
49.
Yes. And I just want to make a quick comment, and thank the teachers for lifting our students, getting us to this A grade.
Yeah.
I know I wasn't the one in the classroom teaching our students and getting these fabulous test grades. You know, I was here making decisions, but they were in front of our students. Absolutely. And definitely we need to look into, getting them. I know when I've been in the community, I'm going to kind of co-sign on what Member Vaughn is saying. You know, they're talking about livable wages, that they're the ones in front of the students getting us to the place that we are, and we need to support them in their efforts to get us where we are today. So, and with that, board members, this meeting is adjourned.